Kamen hingalu me udagu kameddo 5G jassala Kamen hingalu beno miya Ooredoo 5G jassala Kurierumen abaha beenundo 5G jassala Hayatuga avaha kurierun hodalam beenumiya Ooredoo 5G jassala Madukuru mi vara back ameddo 5G jassala Sateka guna speed tajruba kolluma Ooredooge 5G jassala
Gaming ituru harfataka rajyege MSali gaming experience Ooredoo
जाणू तो एक है राकित एक हथियार उतर के हमला दी फुरने लाफा दुआ क्या गादा ना तरुण बैकुरा फुम्मा द बैकुड़ा गादुरा मुझे यारू कम को दूडू वाला फुरा का कबारा तो वेनी हकुड़ा मत का फस्की चहेनी they were some fight for veनी diva iko team king कुड़े वेनी गा बदम का को गेमी का कतुरे का को बेडी का कपा ए हुर वेनी फहुमी है का कुड़े वेनी दीवान मी मगे महल मगे राज मी मगे वतन
Welcome to Ooredoo Nation.
The Gamers Man.
किया बला किया ने खाड़ो खाड़ो कुरु कुरु खाड़ो खाड़ो किरुली कुकुड़ो फास्ट को किया करकुर का किरुली ना खाड़ो कुरु खाड़ो किरुली कुकुड़ो
फास्ट है दो राज्य के में हलु स्पीड के इंटरनेट का Ooredoo के अनलिमिटेड सुपरनेट
खाड़ो कुरु खाड़ो किरुली कुकुड़ो
ಅಷ್ಟೇದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ನೆಟ್ ಎದು ಸ್ಮಿಯಂ ಐ ಲಿವೆ ಲಿವೆ
ಫೋನುಗಾ ವಿಮುಳಿ ಹಯಾತಾನ ಟುಂಗುಳಿಲನೀತ ಕುಮ್ಮಿಸಕಿ ಮೇಜುಗಾ ಎಫೆಶಿ ಗೇಮುಗಾ ಕುಳುನು ಸ್ಪೀಡುಗಾ ಎ ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಗಣ
ಸ್ನೆಪ್ ಕುರೆ ಎಸಕ ಮೀಮ್ ತಕ ಎ ಫುರಿ ಫೀಡುಗ ಎ ಟೆಕು ಟಕು ಫುರ ಎ ಫಿಟು ಚೆಕು ತಕ ವೆ ಓಜಿ ಫಶಾ ಎ ಸಾಳಿ ಟ್ರೆಂಡಕ ಎ ಕಿ ಬಜಿದುವಾ
Purusanta libuni technology libi kuri eruma eko haru fatuga tibe hus baguta bagutung ufala libi huwa fenta kuga veche libi fa
Jasalima fighti libe 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 Jasalima fighti libe 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 Jasalima fighti libe 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 Jasalima fighti libe ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೋಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದೊಮ್ಮೆ ಒಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕುರಿಯರು ಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂಗ್ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಮಡುಕುರು ಮೀ ವರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ಲುಮ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಇತುರು ಹರಫತಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಸಳಿ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಉರಿದು
जाणू तो एक है राके तो एक हथियार उतर के हमला दी फुरने लाफा दुआ क्या गादा ना तरुण बैबा कुड़ा फुम्मा दा बैकुड़ा गादुरा मुझे यार कम को दूर वाला फुरा का कबारा तो तवेनी हकुड़ा मत का फस्की चफेनी they were some fight for the veni diva ikko team king को ले veni ga padan का को गेमी का कतुरे का को बेडी का कपा ए हुर veni ವೇಣಿ ದೀಪವಾಣಿ ಮೀ ಮಗೆ ಮಹಲ್ ಮಗೆ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಮೀ ಮಗೆ ವತನ್
And we are back to Esports Flash Series Mobile Legends on Ooredoo Nation. So I'm still your caster, and yesterday we had our quarterfinals, and today we're going to have our semifinals. It's gonna be a little bit different from what we usually do in our Mobile Legends tournaments here in Ooredoo Nation. We're actually going to have a best of 5 for our semifinals. And the grand finals is going to be a best of 7, as you can see right over there on your screens. So it's all different. I literally just found this out like less than an hour ago as well. So this is a surprise. I hope our teams are ready for this best of 5 later on in the semifinals. So this time around, our first series is going to be LNN SLFO versus MVL Esports, and then coming up next is going to be VG Esports going up against Buthani Boyz. So here we go. Oh, Buthashi rather. So our first series is going to be Buthashi Boyz versus Blood Ravens. No, that's not right. That's not right. It should be LNN SLFO versus MV Legends instead. But nonetheless, yeah, let's just go ahead and go to our drafting phase. So coming right up immediately, our bans will be first Diggy as usual, and then it's gonna be followed up by the Eve for the side of LNN SLFO, and for MVL Esports, they will be banning the Yuzhong and the Akai, right? And then we should be moving on to some more bans later on. But you know, this is kind of a little bit of excitement, you know. LNN SLFO and MVL Esports, these are pretty what do you call this, pretty veteran names in the origination Mobile Legends scene. So this is gonna be exciting. I'm pretty sure these guys faced off several times already. I've seen these guys again and again, so they know each other quite well. You can see that the banning is a bit curated towards what the other team kind of likes to pick. Like for example, the Suyu and the Eve, those are respect bans. But they left Granger open and Midnight's going to take the Granger. And I remembered, I think a couple of tournaments ago, Midnight's Granger is insane. Like I remember so many kills that game. I remember MVP. I remember like basically a snowball. So Midnight Ranger, I think it's a little bit of a nail biter. You know, I'm kind of scared, especially for MVL Esports. But then MVL Esports will be biting back with an Urethel. And I suppose who else is open? I guess Lapu Lapu if they want it. And okay, they'll be taking the Alice instead. Alpha will be taking the Alice. Yesterday, we saw that the Alice was so tanky, so much sustain. I really thought sometimes like the entire time Altaf was ganged up by 3 people at one point, and still Altaf manages to get away so fast. So that's the beauty of Alice, especially after the buff a couple of years ago. Like this woman, this witch is just so tanky, so much sustain. So it's absolutely nice to watch out for. So it's just a wonder that Alice is not a common ban, but that's okay since there are bigger fishes to worry about. And coming up next, it's going to be Mad Speed seeking the Kalia, and a doctor seeing that the E Sunshine is open. They'll be taking that. So Instincts Instinct can still take. Yep, they can still take the Hayabusa, and there are also other choices within the junglers because it's just Tsuyu that got banned back there. So I guess the Hayabusa is also one really nice choice, especially since yesterday the Hayabusa had done a really good job um avoiding a lot of really risky situations by using their ultimate. But yeah, nonetheless, that was our first phase of the picking. And now we're going to the second phase of the banning. You can see that the side of SLFO still needing that mid laner as well as well as an XP laner and MVL Esports. They also need a mid laner actually, and XP laner is probably Alice, so they need a mid laner and or rather mid laner and Rome. They need a mid laner and a Rome. Sarati is a mid laner and Rosie is a Rome, I believe. All right, they'll be taking out Carmilla, and they'll be taking out, oh my gosh, the new character. Wait, she has a Chinese name. That's why I keep forgetting. MLBB Heroes. Let me just pull up her name really, really quickly. She has a Chinese name. I'm part Chinese too. All right, her name is Zetian, and she'll be banned for now. But either way, even if she's new, I don't see her a lot in the esports community. But nonetheless, I think that's curated for SLFO. But I haven't personally seen Lieutenant Custard take Zetian, I believe, or was it like once or twice? So let's just look out for that real quick. And look at that, Zetian isn't even grayed out. So um is a pretty new character alongside Obsidia and Sora. So I think we'll be waiting up for the last two bans really, really quickly. They could go ahead and ban anything under the sun. Um, if you want to ban something well created for a Lieutenant Christian, I think the Zushin is one choice. Or they can go ahead and ban a Grok as well, or maybe a Minotaur. Okay, there we go. Minotaur is actually banned by LNN SLFO. Let's see what no, actually, I think MVL Esports skipped their ban. They should have picked by now. They should have banned rather by now. All right, we should go ahead and see what either Charity or Rosie will be picking this time around. Now it's just one pick for MVL Esports as of the moment, and it looks like Charity will be taking the Kagura. Lots of mobility, so SLFO they could go ahead and perhaps um take maybe a Kufra to sort of counter that. But let's just see what okay, Reaper will actually take the Uranus. Oh, right. Reaper is, yep, an XP laner. Okay, Reaper could take the Uranus instead. So it's a good thing that there's no Esmeralda, so they don't have to worry too much about that. Althoff is already taking the Alice, and Reaper will have the Uranus. Very, very tanky, as you guys know. There's a lot of shields from this guy being generated. Alright, Lieutenant Custard will be taking the Lilia, which got banned, rather buffed recently, so problem with that. Also a lot of mobility, a lot of surprises. And we have Rosie. We'll be picking our roam for the side of MVL Esports. Anything goes as of the moment, but they do need a lot of tankiness because Kagura, Hayabusa, and Irithel are all glass cannons. So Alpha can potentially tank a lot, but they need more tankiness. So definitely no support, and Kufra is a really good choice. So Kufra can definitely stop a lot of mobility from the side of SLFO, but there's not too much to worry about. Granger, yes, there's a lot of dashes. Isanshin, kind of lots of movements as well. And Lilia is a pretty quick hero. Uranus has a jump, but then it's not too much to worry about. But nonetheless, yes, MVL Esports will probably have a bunch of surprises, especially with the Kagura and the Kufra, and also the Hayabusa, of course. Alice does have a little bit of a teleportation in hand, but Skyzen with the Irithel, yeah, we already know the charms of Irithels. Basically, yes, you can still continue putting on your basic attacks while moving around. So I mean, I think we are pretty familiar with all of these heroes as at the moment, so we should go ahead and probably like expect that this might be nice a pretty nice lineup for both teams, and this is going to be a rematch after like a couple of months later. Maybe you know if LNN Esports have faced off before, then we will be seeing them go at it again tonight. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is a best of 5 on the semifinals. This is our first series for tonight. So, SLFO and MVL Esports, let's see what you guys are made of. And once again, guys, this is Ooredoo Nation. Please do like and subscribe our channels for more tournaments like this, and do follow the Instagram, because that's basically like where all of the announcements of the tournaments are gonna go. So not too much to worry about with the poking in the first couple of minutes into the game. Everyone's just chilling out. I don't think there's going to be all out ganking or anything like that, unless we see a group of like more than two, maybe 3, 4. That's when you start worrying. But as of this moment, everyone's kind of just poking around. And once again, guys, this tournament is hosted by Ooredoo Nation, and we can see the first sponsored kill is gonna be Doctor attempting to perhaps invade, and they got immediately punished by MVL Esports, taking 2 as well. So that's 2 down on the side of LNN SLFO. It's not a good sign, especially since Doctor is gonna be losing all their buffs way too early on, and then that turtle is gonna be coming up in a couple of seconds. And so what's gonna happen now is LNN SLFO has to support Doctor quite a lot now that they don't have the buff. Now that they have two less kills, they're 2 kills behind, and it's a good thing Instinct's kind of behind as well. They're taking the blue buff as well, but Isenchin will have just the red buff. But here it's gonna be a 4 versus 3 potentially. This is not gonna be a good look, and Doctor is still down on 1 buff, but Reaper and Mad and Custard are quite low on health, and I think there's going to be 2 casualties, and that's actually 3 casualties. LNN SLFO, this is not good for LNN SLFO. That is 2 team fights down. It's not even 3 minutes left, so it's kind of a little bit worrying, but it's still quite early. Don't have to worry about that too much, but still, let's go ahead and like hope for the best. Still for LNN SLFO, it's still 3 minutes into the game. They can go ahead and catch up with their farms. They're about almost 2k in gold lead behind. So let's go ahead and just watch out for the rest of the game. Everyone's just going back to farming. The first turtle did go to MVL Esports. Now we got more than a minute left to go before that next turtle. And kind of a bit worried for the top lane, especially because there's a lot of people nearby, but it looks like they won't be ganking. And there might be a potential for an ambush in the mid lane. Looks like it's not happening. Right. You can see the Kufras actually rotating alongside with Instincts, and it looks like we have an invade going to the blue buff of MVL Esports. It's gonna be a 2 versus 2. There's Custard nearby as well, and Instincts jumping in real quickly, and Reaper Mal will be falling down from that invade. So it's not a good trade-off for LNN SLFO, especially since that turtle's gonna be respawning in half a minute. Not too much to worry about. We still have a pretty fast respawn time. But over here, looks like MVL Esports hovering about on the bottom lane, and Mad's feet is gonna be ambushed just right there. Gonna be making short work of LNN SLFO as of this moment, and now they're down one more person, and the turtle is once again for the taking of MVL Esports. LNN SLFO's doctor is all the way in the other side of the map, so this is not gonna be too good for the side of SLFO. Alright, Custard should probably get back. They don't want to get caught up in the 4 versus 1 that might be happening later on, but okay, they're rotating towards the top. That's MVL Esports towards the top. SLFO's right nearby as well. This could turn into a 4 versus 4, but it looks like they don't have that much information, so they'll be backing away. And what SLFO should really do as of this moment is go ahead and catch up and farm. They're still 2k behind, so they definitely should not take any more sort of team fights as of this moment. But it looks like it's not really happening because Doctor took down a lot of HP from Serity, and that's a nice ambush. They actually finished off the job. And so Serity didn't quite fight back too much. They could have had like the teleportation of their umbrella, so I suppose they just got caught up over there. But it looks like there's a 4 versus 4 up in the mid, and Rosie's quite low on health. They managed to get away, but that's the tankiness we're talking about with Midnight. And Mad's feet are gonna be falling. Look at that, SLFO catching up by 1 point. Rather, SLFO after catching up by 1 point, still MVL Esports is still winning these team fights. It's kind of worrying, especially this time Midnight has 1 death on their side. They're trying to help out their team, but Midnight still has a long way to go to farm to kind of carry out their team. So SLFO, there's still a lot of catching up left to do. We got a couple of seconds left to go before that next turtle's gonna be coming right up. Okay, I think Mad's feet just found themselves in a pretty ugly situation, but it's a good thing MVL Esports isn't engaging. Alright, we got the Wind Talker for Skyzen. Let's see if it's going to help in the damage, but this is going to be a 4-man push towards the turtle, and SLFO's looking to contest that. Alright, there's going to be 4. Alpha is trying to hold them back, but the Doctor tried to go ahead and steal that turtle. It's a good thing it happened, but it looks like MVL is out for blood. That's 2 casualties. Will there be a third? Reaper is being chased as of the moment, but that Uranus is way too tanky. Midnight backed away, knowing that they can't really take this in the bag, but Rosie yet took a bit of damage from Midnight, but it's not gonna be enough. Well, it's 1-11 on the scoreboard. SLFO managed to deny the 3rd turtle from MVL Esports, which is a good thing because they definitely need number 1, catching up on farm, and number 2, denying that last turtle. They don't want MVL Esports to have all the glory. This is a start to kind of like catching up, but right now Doctor just got eliminated just as of now. So MVL Esports is still on the momentum. What SLFO can do as of this moment is hold back and go on the defensive, waiting for Midnight as well as the rest of the team to get their items and catch up, and definitely avoid giving gold to MVL Esports. But they're not gonna do that. They're going ahead and going for this team fight anyway. Midnight got eliminated off. Mad's feet is getting chased down by Skyzen, of all people. Skyzen still has a long way to go in terms of damage, but they're getting there. They're definitely getting there. Skyzen does have the Has Claws and the Wind Talker already, so that's 2 items. On the other hand, Midnight has the Sky Piercer and also the Scythe. But here for 5 versus 3 potentially in the mid lane. Lots of poking here and there. There's a whole tower dive coming in from MVL Esports, but now they're going to be moving to the farm. 1 casualty so far. It's Doctor. And it's gonna be hard, especially if MVL Esports decides to get that Lord for themselves. You got 10 seconds left to go before Doctor respawns, but it looks like Matsui is gonna be diving in despite the low health. Altaf is definitely low on health, but that's an Alice we're talking about, and SLFO knows that they're gonna be backing away and cutting their losses at this rate. They still don't have enough damage to go up against MVL Esports. So let's go ahead and take the rest of this game as well. There's a 5-man stack of MVL Esports, and it looks like they're gonna be hovering on the Lord. Question is, will they be taking the Lord for themselves? And it looks like it might be a 5 versus 5 once again. And they're just poking here and there, but not much. Okay, there we have it. It looks like we have a set, and finally we have a breather from SLFO. We have 1 down, 2, 3, Instinct, Sarity, Skyzen down. How about Alpha and Rosie? I think it might not be too good. Lieutenant Custer's running for their lives. Alpha way too near, and that's the final hit, and Lieutenant Custard falls, and that is a wipeout for SLFO. With a 3-5 trade, still loss of SLFO, but it's a great improvement, especially since they were down several kills compared to MVL Esports. But it looks like SLFO is not done yet. They're going to try to get Rosie, but Rosie's pretty tanky. Alpha's already getting started on that Lord. Charity and Skyzen have already respawned, and it looks like we're going round number 2 on the Lord dance. MVL Esports getting this started. There's 10k left on the HP, and the Doctor is way too far away. Instinct took the Lord for themselves. Now we got 1 Lord coming in to the side of MVL. And what SLFO can do as of this moment is go ahead and try to lay low and go on the defensive. We have the level leaderboards. Of course, we have Instinct, Alpha, and Doctors are steadily climbing. They just passed Alpha as of this moment. And it looks like SLFO, they won't be stopping their aggression all too much. They still have several turrets left to go. They have 6 turrets actually left to go, so they're pretty confident in their pushes. They took down 2 turrets from MVL Esports, and now we can still go ahead and take that Lord down. It's way too early. It's a 12-minute Lord, so they don't have to worry about that too much. But MVL Esports is definitely using this time around to kind of take a few more turrets. Okay, Reaper's in a pretty bad spot, and it looks like MVL Esports is going to be diving into this team fight. Can't quite see that. Let's see what's going to happen. All right, we have Instinct taking a lot of damage, but still, nonetheless, the casualties here. There's 2 down on the side of MVL Esports, and this time around, SLFO, I think they're catching up real quickly. They have 0 casualties. They took down Instinct and Sarity, which is a big bulk of their of MVL Esports' damage dealers. And it's a good thing Skyzen is still quite alive, but Instincts, okay, I really thought Skyzen might probably get the red buff for themselves, so it looks like it won't be happening. Okay, there might be a 5 versus 3. We have a little bit of a set. They're trying to take down Altaf, but Altaf is way too tanky for them. Alright, Rosie is gonna be coming in and pushing back the rest of LNN SLFO, so there's no casualties just yet. Midnight's here, but they're quite low on health, and everyone's just backing away. Right, Skyzen has their anti-heal in the bag. We got less than a minute left to go before that Lord's going to respawn. And what MVL Esports can do as of this moment, perhaps wait for the next Lord. SLFO is doing a really good job defending, so they definitely need the Lord for themselves. Maybe think about the map control as well, because despite having quite a nice potential for a snowball, SLFO is not giving out too many chances for MVL to get in that snowball for themselves. But it looks like a Reaper's way too tanky. that 3 versus 1 turned into a 3 versus 3 really, really quickly, and the rest of the team is going to catch up. Look at the damage done on MVL Esports, and Midnight finally has their items, and now takes 1, takes 2. Okay, is that a double kill? That's a double kill in the bag. That's a triple kill. Serki Falls Doctor, unfortunately, is going to be a casualty as well. That's a 2-4-4 trade. Finally, SLFO is catching up real quick. Look at the map control. SLFO has this turned around, and they never let that 2k gold deficit take them down. But here, Midnight's going to back away just a little bit. It's just Rosie, so they don't have to worry too much about the damage. But it looks like a Mad's Feet is going to be setting that Kufura up, and well, it's a nice follow-up coming from Midnight, but Instinct finds Reaper, and Reaper is just taking that damage, not even minding. They're like, I'm just here for the tower, I don't really care, I'm a Uranus. They can go ahead and jump right out of the fray if they wanted to. And it looks like SLFO is denying that red buff from MVL Esports quickly, just like that. MVL Esports had the early game, they had the momentum, but SLFO is not giving up the game quite away. And now look at this, SLFO has the map control towards the Lord side of the river, and it looks like Kali is going to be jumping in, taking that Skyzen for Midnight, preparing that, and that Lord's gonna be going to Doctor. It could have been a really ugly contest, but it's a good thing Doctor hit that retribution real quickly, and Rosie's quite low on health. Sarity's backing away. They cannot lose Irrecerity as of this moment. That's a 4 people down on MVL Esports. It's not going to be a good defense, considering the fact that there's still 20 seconds left to go before the rest of the teams are going to respawn. Look at that. SLFO is kind of just standing there like the standing emoji, you know? They're like, oh god, daring Sarity. Oh, Mad's Feet used up their immortality. They know they have this in the bag. They already know. Look at that. They just stood there on the base. They're like, well, the first game is ours. And I don't know if you guys expected that. MVL Esports, for the longest time, they had the advantage. They had like, I think everyone saw that they had the advantage, and they had the momentum on their side. They could have had the snowball, but SLFO just never let that gold lead, never get that farm lead take them down. They steadily kept farming, kept denying farms, and even the third turtle from MVL Esports. And MVL Esports, they just couldn't quite get that momentum going, get a considerable gap, get a snowball going up against SLFO, despite there was a time where MVL Esports had like a 10 kill lead from SLFO, even more than a 10 kill lead, and still look at this, 16 to 22. There's still a deficit in terms of eliminations, but nonetheless SLFO has the gold lead towards the end, and this is the post game. We're seeing that end, we still have SLFO in the gold lead. There's a 1-for-1 Lord, and definitely the turtle got stolen, we all saw that, but I think Midnight is going to be the MVP over here. They got the 10 to 3 to 4. They just needed Midnight to take those items for themselves. Now I'm saying this. I saw Midnight taking the Granger first things first during the banning and the picking, and I was like, yeah, MVL Esports is in trouble. They left the Granger open, and despite the fact that coming in the first few minutes into the game, Midnight couldn't quite farm properly. The rest of their team protected Midnight. You can see that towards the mid game, I think Midnight died once or twice. In fact, the final death count is actually 3 times, and they waited patiently for Midnight to go ahead and farm the rest of the time and get all those items. But nonetheless, great job to LNN SLFO for getting this first point on this best of 5. So I think we're going to be starting off with our next round, just like that, our next game. So there we have it. So guys, this is Ooredoo Nation. Do go ahead and check out the Ooredoo 5G. If you guys saw the ads, Ooredoo 5G is quite a reliable mobile data for you guys, and of course you can also go ahead and check out the rest of the products of Ooredoo. And so this tournament once again is hosted by Ooredoo Nations, and the gaming partners are going to be as you see at the bottom of your screens, it is E2 Gaming, Lenion, and Maldives Esports Association. Thank you guys so much for making this tournament possible. And so don't forget to like and subscribe as usual to our YouTube channel, and of course go follow the Instagram, because that is where all of the announcements are going to be going, like lots of mats. We have scoreboards, we have announcements for tournaments that will be happening. They even put like links where you guys can go ahead and sign up for any tournaments that you're going to be interested in. And it looks like we're gonna be starting really quickly with our next game. So SLFO, the Samurons going to be on the red side. At MVL Esports, they're gonna be banning that Akai and Zhujiang as usual. So they don't want to have their they don't want to have their formations taken down, so that's they're taking out Akai and Yuzhong as usual. So there's the the stuns as well as the breaking of formations for these two heroes, and so that's pretty consistent. They still don't want to give that to LNN SLFO, but I think a good choice you have here is perhaps to use the last ban to give a respect ban to Midnight Granger. But nonetheless, SLFO, they're going to be answering back with the same, more or less the same bans as last game. It's going to be a Suyu and a Diggy. They definitely do not want to give that Suyu to Instinct. It's going to be quite the adversary. And so with that, I think we have one more ban left for both sides. And guess they can go ahead and do the respect bans for the junglers, unless they want to go ahead and just think of something else. All right, we have the Esun Shin. They don't want to give the Esun Shin away because MVL Esports will have the first pick, and so Doctor probably won't be guaranteed that Esun Shin. So they're going to be thinking of something else. So there's no more Suyu, there's no more Esun Shin. We can still have the Hayabusa, maybe the Hanzo if they want it. And who else on the jungle? Actually, it's quite a huge hero pool, so let's just see what they decide to pick later on. MVL Esports, it looks like they'll be skipping out on their last ban, and MVL Esports will be using the first pick on Badang. Good choice. That is crowd control as well as setting kind of like a tank, you know, in a fighter if they want it. Badang can go roam. Sometimes I see a Badang roam, but most of the time it's an XP laner. Looks like Midnight will be going on the encore for Granger, and the Lieutenant Custard will be using that Valir. Definitely a good counter to Rosie's Badang, but a little bit worried because Badang does have a wall, and Custard will probably need a dash on their side to kind of get away from that. So not too much to worry about as long as they can get that ultimate in and save the rest of their team by pushing back the rest of MVL Esports. Then Valir is quite a good choice for this, and it's just gonna be about the execution. And okay, here we have MVL Esports. They still have a long ways to go. I mean, they can go ahead and take that airfill back. They don't have to worry too much about banning or countering Midnight. They just need to deny perhaps the farm of the Granger. But here, MVL Esports looks like they'll be taking the Lancelot as well as the Vexana. So SLFO can potentially counter that Lancelot with perhaps a Kufra. But it's going to be up to Mad's feet as to what they're going to be taking. Alright, Minotaur is also a very good choice. So as long as Mad's feet can take MVL Esports by surprise and setting them within a nice confined space, you can go ahead and give Midnight a lot of space to go ahead and put a lot of damage on MVL Esports. And of course, Lieutenant Custard, they have a lot of sustained damage up against using rather their skills of Valier's, a kind of a steady kind of damage. You don't want to stand on Valier's flames too long, but it's definitely not the kind of burst damage that we usually expect from a mage. So it's definitely a different sort of playstyle. Otherwise, MVL Esports Serity will be using the Vexana, so that is more of a burst sort of damage. And then we have a Sentry on the side of Vexana, so it's gonna be basically a 6 versus 5 as long as Vexana has their ultimate up. It looks like we're going to be going on to our next banning phase. Carmilla will be down first, so we won't be seeing a Carmilla Sicilian combo that could have been happening, but it looks like both mages are already taken so by both teams, so it's not too much to worry about. So Camilla, no more stuns on the second skill, no more sustain from this first skill, and definitely no more debuffs from that ultimate. And Lapu-Lapu will be followed up by SLFO on the banning. Otherwise, MVL Esports, they're going to ban that our lot, and they could also still think about Doctor's jungler, but it looks like they'll be taking Guinevere out of the question as well. So Guinevere is, I don't know, some people build Guinevere as a tank, and that's actually not too surprising, especially since Guinevere's ultimate is such an insane crowd control, especially if you time that jump correctly. The jump on the second skill, you stun them and you see that you caught maybe 2 or 3 people. You go ahead and get that ultimate. That ultimate lasts what, like 2-3 seconds, and it just gives a lot of time for the rest of the team to kind of catch up and put a lot of damage. And that's considering the fact that Guinevere is usually known as a mage and a fighter, especially a few years ago. And now everyone is looking at the potential for the Guinevere to become a tank, especially once maybe if there's like a buff towards the area of effects of Guinevere's ultimate. But yeah, nonetheless, Guinevere is out of the question, so we don't have to talk about that too much. So I digress. We have a Reaper Mob taking the X board on their side, and MVL Esports will have to think about their mid laner for Skyzen. And Skyzen looks a little bit different this time, and Alflap as well. So we should be looking for an XP laner and a mid laner, and it looks like Glue will be on the will be on the XP lane unless Rosie and Althaf switch up, and Glue will be on the Roam instead. It looks like Skyzen, okay, rather Skyzen will be taking still the Irithel, so it's not too different after all. It's going to be the same matchup in terms of marksmen, in terms of carries, so more or less the same game, especially during the late game, especially once Skyzen and Midnight have the items that they need. It's going to be a carry kind of fight, but then the first few minutes it's going to be Doctor versus Instinct, and looks like Doctor will be answering back with a Fredrin, so not bad of a choice. Everything's well rounded, no surprises whatsoever. Just no, actually I'm quite proud of the line, and so this is pretty much actually this matchup, MVL Esports and LNN SLFO. It feels more like a grand finals, but we're still here in the semifinals. This is still a best of 5. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Esports Flash Series Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and this tournament is hosted by Ooredoo Nation Gamers Land, and this would not be possible without our gaming partners, which is E2S Gaming, Lenion, and Maldives Esports Association. So thank you so much for making this tournament possible and making a lot more other series of tournaments possible. If you guys check out the Instagram of Ooredoo Nation, Ooredoo Nation Maldives, you can see that there's so many tournaments, so many different games all around Ooredoo Nation. So many chances for you guys to go ahead and join these tournaments, especially if you're a fan of perhaps MLBB, as you can see. But we also have Valorant tournaments, lots of PUBG tournaments. We also have, I think, most recently we have Rocket League and FIFA as well. So here we have a bit of a tit for tat in the mid lane. Everyone's just poking around. Not too much surprises. No invades whatsoever. Unless they're feeling cheeky. Okay, we have an invade actually on there's an attempt on the blue buff, but immediately Doctor uses their retribution for this. Potential 3 versus 3. Alright, Doctor tries to go ahead and hit the back lines, and Rosie might be in a little bit of trouble, but they're looking at the tank of MVL Esports. They're not too worried about Rosie, but still no casualties yet. I thought we might see like a first blood, but it didn't quite happen. Okay, so Mad's feet, you should probably watch out for that. They're kind of watching out on the farm of MVL Esports. So let's just see if they have any plans. They have a bit of information, and question is, will they be acting on it? Because as of the moment, Doctor's actually still under red buff, so they're way too far from the gold lane, and I don't think we'll be seeing any action until now. Instinct finds Custard, and that is our first blood. This is kind of like a potential deja vu from the first game, especially with LNN SLFO kind of falling off in the early game, but definitely did not stop them. But here, the first turtle is going to be popping right up. Doctor does have the advantage of the location, but it looks like they'll be trying to take one on the top lane first before anything really happens. It's going to be a 4 versus 4 as of the moment. Doctor's definitely very, very low in health. Reaper Maul as well, but Doctor's going to be backing away alongside of their roam, and there's a bit of damage done to Althop and Rosie and Sarati as well, and so both teams are going to be disengaging. MVL Esports looks like they're going to have 3 people kind of backing away, and so LNN SLFO will probably have the turtle for themselves. Let's look at the turtle, ladies and gentlemen, and kind of see what's going to be happening over here. I think it's going to be uncontested by SLFO. Doctor takes that turtle for themselves, and so SLFO finally having a breather in terms of that turtle sort of like farm, as opposed to what we saw in the previous game. Okay, I think we have a little bit of trouble with Mod's feet. They're getting taken by that blue, but blue is being taken towards the turret, and Custard might have them maybe stun just a little bit, but Althof's quite tanky already. So potential invade. We have Rosie poking about on the blue buff, but the blue buff is already taken by Doctor, so they don't have to worry about that too much. Right, we have more than a minute left to go before that next turtle is going to be popping up, and everyone's kind of chilling as of the moment. Both sides can go ahead and get the ganks as usual, but because you don't have to worry about the spawning of that turtle for maybe less than a minute left to go. There's a 4-man stack on MVL Esports on the gold lane, so Midnight should probably watch out. And you can see Midnight's actually has their spidey senses up. They're gonna be backing away and holding out to the turret. But it looks like we have 2 casualties while we're watching Midnight. We have Matsu, the Lieutenant Custard, got taken down. But here, Instinct attempted on Midnight, but Midnight managed to get away. And I think Doctor might be in trouble. That's a 3 versus 1. What is happening over there? And Midnight was probably told to stay away. Midnight has to farm. And that's what saved SLFO in the previous game. They told Midnight to mind their own business. Don't join team fights early on. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Midnight's literally just there. They see their other teammates getting taken in the back end, and then they're like, well, we don't have support, so Midnight just play it absolutely safe. Because Midnight attempting to help only because there's a 3-man backup for this guy. But here, the turtle's going to be up for the taking. We have 8k left to go on the HP. It's going to be a 4 turtle in the bag for SLFO. It's going to be a little bit of a skirmish. Charity very low on health, but Vixana's ultimate is going to be saving MVL Esports a bit back there. They're going to be having that Vixana ultimate kind of tanking a bit of that damage. It just makes it hard for the rest of the team to target the rest of MVL Esports. And so MVL Esports has a really nice backing away back there. They're going to be taking their losses. And now kind of watching out for the rest of the map as of the moment. We have a minute and a half left to go before that next turtle up top is going to be respawning. And of course, maybe 2 versus 1 up top, but I don't think Glue is going to be being worried about that way too much. And it looks like our gold laners are going back to minding their own business because they're gluing 1, and so it's gonna be helping out with a lot of the rather the anti-heals. So we're just gonna be watching out if we're gonna be seeing Has Claws or any sort of other healing items for both teams. And let's just go ahead and watch out. We have Midnight, they have the Sky Piercer. So it'll be pretty good if Midnight starts taking some more kills on their side. I think rather SLFO should probably start feeding Midnight a bit more kills. But okay, we're starting off with this 5 versus 5, way too far from the turtle, but Skyzen will be the first casualty. Let's see if there's going to be another one. Ooh, okay, we have Alpha attempting to hold back the rest of the team, the rest of MVL Esports from being taken down, and it looks like Instinct tried to chase it down Reaper Mel back there, but no other casualties after that. SLFO finally getting their first kill in the bag. It's going to be credited to Lieutenant Custard, but still the turtle's still out for the taking. They have a couple seconds left to go before that turns into a lord, so they should probably get onto it. Let's see if any of the team will try to take it down, because Instinct and Doctor are way too far. They're literally in the other side of the map, but it looks like LNN SLFO will try to maybe get this started. There's a 4-man stack up top. Altaf is quite nearby, and that's a gang up. Midnight finally taking their first kill, and that's going to help out a lot with the Sky Piercer stack. So it looks like Doctor will get that started on the turtle. And there's a 3-man stack on MVL Esports. Ooh, that's a nice set from Mod's feet over there. But that's going to be a Vixana ultimate to try to help them out. But Vixana instead is going to be taken down. Charity rather is going to be taken down alongside Instinct and Rosie. Skyzen is still up and about. Alpha is also nearby on top of Lieutenant Custard, and it looks like finally Lieutenant Custard has been shut down. But on the other hand, I think the last person standing Alpha in that scenario is going to be in trouble. Skyzen, way too late to the party. What is Skyzen doing? You should probably back away really quickly. And Skyzen does exactly just that. And Frederick's going to be going for a little bit of a chase, but immediately backs away. Don't want to overstep. Don't want to be overconfident. And that's MVL Esports. That's what they exactly did it. Alright. We have it. And everyone's back to normal. Everyone's just chilling about. We have a 4-man stack for MVL Esports. Rather, it's turning into a 5-man stack. And I think our export might be in trouble. And LNN SLFO is kind of backing away. We can see the Vixana popping right up, and Lieutenant Custard lost her lives back there. Midnight finally getting that Blade of Despair. Nice! Is set towards the side of MVL Esports. Alright, we have Modspeed kind of a little bit in trouble, and I think they're going to be finishing that off with the blue. Modspeed gets taken down. I think Midnight might be next. And Rosie got taken down back there. Instinct follows. Alright, that's a 2-for-2 trade for this team fight. And we have half a minute left to go before that Lord pops up. 8-8 on the scoreboard as of the moment. We're still 10 minutes into the game, so this is a pretty late Lord, but nonetheless, still in terms of map control, you can see that there's so many turrets taken down from the side of MVL Esports. That's 4 turrets down, and that's compared to the 1 turret down by MVL Esports. So map control immediately, no doubt, goes to LNN SLFO. And so, talking about that Lord, LNN SLFO definitely has the advantage over here. Okay, I thought Midnight might probably start on that Lord, but it looks like yeah, they will be starting on that Lord. There's a 3-man stack of LNN SLFO on that blue buff for MVL Esports, and MVL Esports, they have the numbers advantage over here. Reaper Miles quite tanky, taking a lot of that damage, and it looks like he was going to be attaching on to that X-Borg, and way too deep into enemy territory, but Alpha's gonna be able to go away perhaps. I don't think they're gonna be going out way too far, and this is not a good place to be for Alpha, but Alpha is an expert in tanking this. This is a 4 versus 1, and finally, after 3 to 5 business days, Alpha finally gets taken down with enough damage, but well, we're not looking. That Lord is already marching towards the bottom, and looks like there's 2 man deficit on MVL Esports. They have to defend their base as of the moment. They cannot come out of that base, and so a little bit of a difference from the first game. This time LNN SLFO is holding on to their this momentum that they have, and they definitely did not fall off in the early game this time around. But here, that Lord finally began falling down, but nonetheless, SLFO is going to be taking a lot more turrets on their side. Okay, they have sights on the mid lane inhibitor turret. Alright, we have a potential 5 versus 5 hooking here and there. No ultimates just yet. We're waiting on that Lisanna ultimate. Alpha is going to be diving in, attaching onto Mod's feet, and I think Mod's feet is going to be losing their lives back here, and Stick takes advantage, takes that credit over there, and then it's a 1-for-1 trade. Alpha versus Mod's feet. Reaper, Midnight, clustered quite low on health, and Skyzen's right behind them, but Skyzen backs away. They could have taken that triple kill, but they're going to be cutting their losses. That was a nail biter. I actually got really nervous back there, but Skyzen cut their losses, and they had to defend their base, especially since that lower inhibitor turret is actually already destroyed by LNN SLFO. So eyes on the objectives, especially for the side of SLFO. They could take kills if they wanted to. SLFO could take kills, but they took turrets instead, and that's what's making them win. We got a minute left to go, less than a minute left to go before that next Lord, but both teams are going to be positioning themselves towards the lower part of that river real quick. And we're just pushing back the minions. You can see that MVL Esports are trying to fight back in terms of map control, but SLFO is definitely not letting those minions go to their side of the map. And there's a 3-man stack towards the red buff of MVL Esports as of the moment, and now it's gonna be 4 with Doctor nearby. And you can see that MVL Esports are actually trying to hide out into their base. They definitely do not want to lose any more plays, especially when they're on the defense as of the moment. Alright, they're going to SLFO is trying to attempt on that mid laner. That's a nice set coming in from the from MVL Esports, but still not enough to take down anyone from SLFO. That's 2 down. Gonna be a 3. Is that gonna be a 3 down on the side of MVL Esports? Alright, looks like SLFO is watching on to the minions instead. They could potentially end this in another minion wave. Skyzen's definitely low on health, and Midnight still the first person to go down. That's a killing spree from Skyzen before Mods finally shuts them down. And that's two casualties on the side of SLFO. The casualties are Doctor and Midnight. So it's going to be a little bit hard to probably end this game, especially since they don't have the basic attacks to kind of get that going. In MVL Esports, there's still 4 people up, and they're slowly but steadily bouncing back, especially with the respawns coming in from the rest of the team. But the next Lord's up for the taking. SLFO is just making sure that that blue buff won't be going to MVL Esports. But here in the mid lane, and it looks like we have a little bit of trouble happening, but Mansweet managed to get a 3 on their on the set, but still no casualties. Taking a bit of time. There's a lot of sustain on both sides. Blue is going to be attaching on Mansweet as usual, and Lieutenant Custer is going to be falling, but Reaper is going to be getting away. That's a 4-man stack for MVL Esports. I think we're good as of the moment. And you can see SLFO is kind of hovering about the Lord as of the moment. And I mean, we're just watching out for what's gonna happen now. There's a potential Lord dance as of the moment. And I think it's gonna be happening. MVL Esports is actually going to start off on that Lord. They're probably just taunting. They're just taunting SLFO as of the moment. You can see SLFO is going to be trying to take one. That's actually Rosie, the first casualty, but Reaper Mouse going to be traded off. Skyzen, no, that's a lot of damage. And Midnight loses out on that 1 versus 1. That's 2 casualties. And SLFO as compared to Rosie. Rosie's the one that lost out here, but look at that base. It's out in the open, so they definitely have MVL Esports definitely has to go back to base. They don't have any inhibitor turrets, so those minions are going to be hitting a little bit harder than usual. Because Lieutenant Custer and Matsweet, they're going to be choosing to go to that base, focus on the minions, and that's exactly what MVL Esports is doing. Matsweet and Custard, they're kind of like just backing away. They know that they can't take this fight, especially since they have the numbers disadvantage. Matsweet is definitely trying their best to defend Custard, and they're doing it quite well actually. Matsweet is very, very tanky, and the rest of SLFO is already gone ahead and respawned, and so we have probably a proper fight that might be happening. Matsweet definitely way too low in health. Custard's already 3/4 of their health. Matsweet cannot go here. Okay, we have a bit of a heal happening back there, and just a bunch of pokes. Still no sign of a all-out team fight whatsoever, but that Lord is still up for the taking. Reaper's just going to make sure that goes ahead and goes smoothly, and looks like they're trying to take that Lord down. Rather, the rest of SLFO is just trying to get that out of the way, and easily that Lord goes down. But the good thing is MVL Esports denied that Lord from SLFO, denied the push of those minions towards their side. You can see that base, it's very, very it gets everyone nervous. But here there's a potential 5 versus 5 that could happen, but it will definitely be on this disadvantage of MVL Esports. One wrong move and someone could backdoor the base of MVL Esports. They can go all one lane, and it's not gonna be ending well for MVL Esports if they don't pay attention to their base. Okay, Midnight took a lot of damage back there, and Midnight's going to be dashing back. Skyzen going straight forward, putting a lot of damage, but Midnight this time around wins that fight against Skyzen, because Midnight finally had the backup that they need. Okay, that's a double kill, and let's see if they can find a triple. Ooh, that's a lot of damage taken by Alflaf, and Matsweet takes that kill for themselves. A 3 down for MVL Esports. I think they can go ahead and end this game really quickly. It's just a Sarity and Rosie now. You cannot let the mage defend that base. Alright, we have the Vixana ultimate already expended. Midnight took Rosie down. It's just Sarity now. Sarity pushed back to the fountain, ladies and gentlemen. This is game number 2 of the best of 5 MVL Esports versus LNN SLFO on the semi-finals, and that's 2-0 at this moment. 2 on LNN SLFO. This is match point coming in from SLFO. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is once again Ooredoo Nation Gamers Land Esports a Flash series. And well, you can see SLFO is just way too consistent as of this moment. It's absolutely insane. I mean, I have nothing else left to say. This not disappoint whatsoever. You saw the first game, I was really nervous for SLFO because MVL Esports, they had the early game. And this time around, SLFO didn't give the early game to MVL Esports. I mean, MVL Esports at one point, it was a bit shaky, you know. Both teams were kind of on a push and pull. You can see that SLFO didn't really prioritize on the kills. They prioritized on the objectives. Those turrets were slowly being shaved down early on into the game. And it's just absolutely insane. I mean, you blink and your base is already like empty. There's no more turrets. It's just your base left, and our MVP is still Midnight. 9-2 to 10 on the KDA. Slightly better. There was a 10-3 KDA a while ago. Not sure what the assists, but Midnight is still our MVP as of the moment. So that Sky Piercer definitely helps out quite a lot. Midnight's being protected by the rest of their team, letting Midnight sort of farm as much as possible before everything else. It's just helped out quite a lot, especially up for you know, towards the late game. So great job hand great job handling everything for SLFO. So this is our bracket real quick. Once again, this is a best of 5, so we should have one more game at least and 3 more games at most for our semifinals for LNN SLFO and MVL Esports. As of the moment, we're 2-0. That is SLFO 2, MVL Esports 0. So we have of course it's not over just yet. As usual, before actually the other MLBB tournaments that we have here in Ooredoo Nation, we have a best of 3 for everything except for the grand finals. This time around it's gonna be different. Semifinals needs the suspense that it deserves, and so we're going to turn this into a best of 5 instead, and the grand finals is a best of 7. That's a pretty standard actually for a lot of MLBB tournaments. Even I think some tournaments, some really big tournaments, is best of 9, which is like personally I would be like 9 games. It's so quite tiring, but then nonetheless, we're going to be going on to our game number 3 really quickly. I'm not hearing any news, so I think we're just going to be moving on to that game number 3 real quickly. So we're in the drafting phase once again, and Diggy is going to be banned, and it's SLFO that's going to be banning the Granger. Okay. I mean, I really wanted to see maybe another midnight sort of Granger, but I think the names of the teams are swapped. LNN SLFO is on the blue side because that's Midnight's. That's Mad's Feet, Lieutenant Custer, they're LNN SLFO. Saritis Kaizen, they're MVL Esports, I believe. So yeah, let's just go ahead and keep going. Digin and Suyu are getting banned, first things first. And for the side of MVL Esports, they're banning Yuzhong and of course the Granger. So that's a little bit of a shame. We're not gonna be seeing the Granger this time around. So Midnight, what are their hero pools? I can't quite remember. I just remember Midnight's Granger's very distinct, but Midnight can definitely pick maybe the Irithel as well. Just take Skyzen's Irithel away, and anything else. I mean, they could have the Ixia as well if they wanted to, and I mean, the hero pool for marksmen are quite huge, And there's a lot of meta as well to play around with. But here we have SLFO is going to be banning that Isan Shin as well. So I suppose Doctor will be using something else. Lieutenant Custard will be taking that Sicilian, so you can expect maybe there's a possibility that Matt's feet might be taking that Camilla. Depending on how SLFO wants to play this around. MVL Esports has 2 picks on their side, okay? They could prioritize the Earthal of Skyzen because that's pretty predictable. Or they can go ahead and try to give Altaf perhaps the Alice. Or maybe the Glue if they want it. They could also give the Uranus. Alright, they'll be prioritizing the Badang and also Instincts Fredrin. So this time around, Doctor, they don't have the Isunshin, they don't have the Fredrin, so the Suyu is also out of the question. So there's still a Hayabusa. They could still take the Hayabusa for themselves. And Midnight still doesn't have their carry. And well, the mid laners for Lieutenant Custer, they already have, of course, the Sicilian, and of course Sarachi still has to pick their mid laner. Let's see what they're going to be going up against. Okay, we have Obsidia. That's Mount's feet, however. So Midnight will be taking the XP lane. They're gonna be swapping with Mount's feet. Rather, Midnight will be taking XP lane. Mount's feet will be taking Marksman. So Reaper should be taking Roamer this time around, unless Midnight will be using perhaps a Lapu Lapu Roamer. So I don't think that's gonna be happening. So let's just go ahead and just kind of see what's happening over here. Alpha will be taking that Alice for themselves. So we're going back to the banning phase real quick. Let's go ahead and kind of see what the next bans are gonna look like. So Doctor still doesn't have a jungler, so but nonetheless MVL Esports will be prioritizing on the export ban. Wait a minute. So SLFO is lacking a roam. I'm not sure why this export ban happened, but yeah, SLFO will be taking off the Angela. And then they could still ban a jungler as well as any other roamer. Alright, no more Camilla. So SLFO should answer back with either a mid laner or a marksman. It looks like they'll be going for that Lilia ban instead. And oh, by the way, it looks like actually I have a bit of announcement from the back end. We cannot use the new hero. We cannot use Sora in this tournament starting from this game. Starting from next game actually. Alright, we cannot use Sora in starting in the next game. That's a new rule coming in from the back end of Ooredoo Nation. And okay, I think they're joking around, but the serious thing is Sora cannot be used, not the AI, but Sora, the new fighter slash assassin. I'm not actually that familiar with this hero just yet, but yeah, nonetheless, I'm not gonna be worried about that because we're not gonna be using that. We're not allowed to use that. So all right, Doctor, I'm not familiar. Is this Thomas? Thomas looks different. So I'm gonna assume that Doctor's using Thomas this time. And Serity has the Kimi in hand. Skyzen. Okay, so Serity is on the mid lane. So this is a mid lane Kimi. And Reaper Mal will be using the Baksha instead. And so we'll be looking at our last pick. So Skyzen still doesn't have their carry. And well, Sarati is already a marksman, so Skyzen can probably go ahead. Okay, we have a literal carry for our carry. Alright. Doctor's gonna be swapping out for Baksha, so Reaper Marl will be taking the Thomas. On the XP lane, I believe. So Midnight should be... I'm not sure what the lineup's gonna look like. So let's just see what LNN SLFO is going to plan, especially with this lineup. So we have actually a little bit of a swap between the carry. So it's Mod's Feet that's gonna be a carry on this game number 3 for SLFO, especially since Midnight doesn't have their Granger. So Granger, rather Midnight will have the Lapu Lapu instead, which is a pretty standard ban. And now it's gonna be out in the open. Let's see how Midnight is going to execute this. And for the side of MVL Esports, we have I mean, it's a pretty standard lineup. We have Serti on the mage. Instead of like a typical mage, we have Kimi instead. And we're finally seeing the emblems real quick. I mean, it's pretty standard for the emblems, and so not too much to worry about. Looks like Doctor will be using the tank emblem, however, and so Matt's Feet as well for the Obsidia. Okay, very interesting. Okay, very interesting emblem for Matt's Feet Obsidia. And actually, let's just look at the rotations real quick. It looks like Obsidia is actually probably going to be the roamer, I believe. Wait a minute. This is Sora. That's not Obsidia. Matt's Feet is using Sora. Dude. Okay, starting from next game, nobody's using Sora. I think the banning and picking phase, they accidentally put down Obsidia, which is a marksman. That's why I was a little bit confused. But Sora is being used by Mod's Feet as of this moment. You guys can't do that in the next game, and that's just what the backend says. But then this time around, okay, you guys can go ahead and look. I think we have we don't have any qualms from the back end. They didn't say like, oh, we go ahead and do a rematch or anything like that. They're fine with it. Looks like they're fine with it. Okay, we have the go signal from the back end. Let's just get on with the game. So let's allow Matt's Feet to use the Sora this time around, but they're definitely not allowed to use that next time game. And MVL Esports back as of the moment, and still no casualties, however. And SLFO, as you can see in the previous games, they don't prioritize too much on kills. Not in the early game, not in the mid game, not in the late game. They prioritize on taking down turrets, farming, getting those objectives. And so as of this moment, MVL Esports is getting started on that turtle really quickly. So that we have it. Reaper Mall's not in a good spot, but they're trying to attempt to steal that turtle. But still, nonetheless, Instincts take that alongside one kill. The first blood, Sarati takes that, but it's gonna be 3 versus 3 towards the turtle side, and that's 1 casualty, 2 casualties on the side of MVL Esports. That's 2 for 1 trade. Tell me if that's worth it, because MVL Esports, they took the turtle as well as 1 kill, but SLFO has 2. And in terms of gold, SLFO is still leading 3 minutes into the game. So, well, it's all fine with these. And let's look at the blue buff real quick on the side of MVL Esports. Just got lost down there. And I'm not sure who took the blue buff. There was an attempt on an invade. It looks like it's gonna be a 3 versus 5 as of the moment. And it looks like because it will be getting 1 down, but Midnight will be traded off after that. So Midnight should still be the carry, quite literally going up against carry. But they're taking the Lapu Lapu as of the moment, and Matt's Feet will use the Sora as a roamer this time around. All right, we have Serity getting taken down by that new hero. And let's see if Rosie will catch Mod's Feet real quick. It looks like they're gonna be backing away. Everyone's just kind of minding their own business. Rosie's poking around the bush. Okay, we have Reaper versus Alpha, but this is XP versus Roam, so we're not too worried about that. Instinct, however, goes to fray. Okay, potential 2 versus 2 with Baksha nearby. We have a couple seconds left to go before that next turtle. Okay, Instinct definitely way low on health. Reaper takes that map. It takes that kill, but gets traded off immediately. 1 for 1. Make that a 2 for 1. If Alfluf's gonna be falling, Alfluf managed to get away so far away. Alright, 3 versus 2. Mod Speed's gonna be jumping in. Sarati way too low on health. Rosie's probably gonna be following after that. That's crazy damage from Sora, I believe. Oh my goodness. I'm not too familiar with this new hero. It's just way too early for that, but that was crazy. That was crazy. It's something crazy that you expect from a roamer, of all things. But there's a 3-man stack on the gold lane. They're cutting the lane. Actually, there's still 2 turrets surrounding them, and they're still in enemy territory. You can see Midnight taunting Rosie and Skyzen. And they're going to be taking that outer turret real quick. Reaper Miles gonna be making short work of that. We got a minute left to go. Actually, more than a minute left to go before that next turtle. And so we're seeing a bit of a stack for both sides of the teams. And I think Instinct might be in trouble. Alright, we have a little bit of a jump here and there, but Mod Speed's gonna be falling. Rosie's gonna be the first casualty. Actually, Mod Speed is still alive. Sora is insane. Okay, let's watch out for this new hero. So that's it, 8-4 on the scoreboard as of this moment. And SLFO's quite dangerously low in health, but Alpha's gonna be backing away. You're taking way too much damage. And so tankiness still comes through for the Alice. So they don't have to worry too much about that. And we have half a minute left to go before the next turtle is coming right up. And everyone's kind of just standing by. Okay, we have a jungler versus jungler. I think essentially turning into a full team fight. Alright, folks here and there. First casualty, Mod Speed. SLFO is going to be backing away, but Instinct finds Reaper Mal. Okay, let's see if they commit to that, and I think Instinct's going to be falling back there. That's a 1 for 1. To make that a 2 for 1 trade, Reaper Mal is going to be falling as well. And Alpha might be next, but Alpha's very, very tanky. Doctor is quite nearby, so that life drain is kind of doing its job over there. Doctor dangerously low on health, but Rosie is also quite low, and looks like they can't quite finish the job back there. So that was just a trade-off. 11-6 on the scoreboard as of the moment. SLFO has the scoreboard advantage. Midnight, oh, gets taken down by Sarati. Overextended there quite a bit into the mid lane. A little bit too confident from the side of SLFO this time around, but this is definitely a switch up from the previous game. We see SLFO going a little bit more aggressive than usual now that they know that they have the farm's advantage. They have 3k in gold lead, but here we have a turtle dance, and MVL Esports is definitely getting pushed back. Sarati dangerously low on health. Reaper Mouth takes Instinct, and Rosie falls afterwards, and I think there's a third casualty. That's gonna be Skyzen, and you can expect SLFO can easily get that next turtle. In fact, that is going to be a 2 for 1 turtle as of the moment. SLFO has 2, including that last turtle, and MVL Esports has 1. I think that was the second turtle. But here, you can see SLFO has eyes on the objectives. They already took down all the outer turrets of MVL Esports. They're banking on that red buff. You can see Legendary Crystals kind of going way to the fray, try to back up the rest of the team. But Matsuki is going to be falling down first. Legendary Crystal finds Alpha. That is mage for XP later. And the Reaper is going to be jumping right in. And that's a lot of damage. Lieutenant Custer gets a double kill before getting shut down. Skyzen is in a wrong place at the wrong time, and Reaper Mal quite low on health, but still they managed to get away. I think SLFO knows exactly how this semifinals is gonna end. And well, doing really, really well this time around. I think this is no question. SLFO has the mid game in hand, and Sarati is gonna be falling once again. Look at that, 0 turrets down on the side of MVL as compared to 3 turrets on the 9-minute mark for SLFO. And so, one after the other, we're gonna be seeing a trade. That's a 2-for-1 trade. Midnight's gonna be falling. I think Alpha might be falling up real quick, but Skyzen up top gets taken down 1-for-1. 1 versus 1 rather. Absolutely did not stand a chance. And well, Reaper Moss just kind of like minding their own business, knowing that tower was gonna go down anyway. Modspeed is nearby. Let's see what the new hero is all about. Alright, might be 3 versus 1 if they ever take this fight against Modspeed, but I think Modspeed might be a bit tanky back there. And we have a couple seconds left to go before that next Lord. But as of this moment, map control overwhelmingly rather goes to the side of SLFO. So yeah, everyone's kind of just taking their places. One good team fight, and that could decide who gets the first Lord. But you can see SLFO and MVL Esports not really banking on that Lord real quick. But we can see actually, never mind, Doctor's actually trying to start on that Lord. Quite low in health, managed to solo that, so that's not too much to worry about. And you can see SLFO already has a lead in terms of pushing back the minions. You can see MVL Esports, they're already hiding behind their base, going on the defensive. They already know. You can see they're not even trying to take any team fights whatsoever. That's 21-10 on the kill board. SLFO this time around, they're riding on in that momentum. They have the firepower more than MVL Esports. Alright, we can see SLFO going on the aggressive as at this moment. And MVL Esports, they should definitely not lose any members. They have to defend, but nonetheless, Custard takes down Instinct. Custard follows up, however, that's a 1-for-1 trade. Modspeed might be next. And that's a double kill by Skies, and you do not want to feed that carry, ladies and gentlemen. And you should probably counter that carry really quickly. That is an anti-tank. And you can see they're making quick work on SLFO. Rosie's gonna be following up. That's a 3-for-3 trade as of the moment. And that Lord kind of disappeared back there. Skies is almost taken down. Ooh, that tower dive by Doctor was a chef's kiss. Skies gets taken down. Doctor quite low on health. Serity going for that chase. And still, Midnight gets that kill in the bag. We're talking about a Lapu Lapu, ladies and gentlemen. And Instinct might be going down next. That's a triple kill. That's insane. I thought Midnight would be like the Granger player, but with Lapu Lapu, I think this is another story. This is insane. This is crazy for Midnight. That versatility. Because a lot of the times you kind of expect, you know, long range players will probably fare better with long range, with a lot of long range heroes. But you can see Lapu Lapu is a melee character. It's a whole different skill set from marksman, but nonetheless it doesn't stop Midnight whatsoever. Alright, we're seeing another dive. We already lost Modspeed, and SLFO is going to be backing away. MVL Esports is prioritizing on defending their base. And you can see perhaps maybe SLFO might be going to try to clear out that bottom lane. Alright, that's exactly what Midnight's doing. And the Thamus, Reaper is still waiting up on the top lane. You can see they actually, I think they already have this sort of agreement beforehand that each of the laners will watch out for the lanes and push the minions as much as possible. But over here, there's a 4-for-5 stack on the red buff on the side of MVL Esports. Let's see if we can see a first casualty. Instinct took a bit of damage back there. And we're still waiting on Modspeed to kind of initiate this fight. You can see Modspeed. Yep, they're gonna be jumping in. That's a nice set. And that is a 5 versus 5 first casualty. It's gonna be Modspeed. Actually, I kind of want to see what the side of MVL Esports looks like. But over here we have steadily but surely shaving down the HP of MVL Esports. Lieutenant Custer finds 1. Alphap's gonna be falling after that. That is so far a 3-4-1 trade. Not a good deal, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a good deal, and I think MVL Esports They know what's coming. Skyzen is the last person standing to kind of like try to defend this, and I think Skyzen's just trying their best. Maybe they can take this 5 versus 1. Okay, there was a 1, 2, 1 rather. Doctor got taken down back there, but still it's not enough to defend of minions that were about to go there, and it was just Skyzen alive, and Skyzen's like, yep, that's it for the semifinals. And ladies and gentlemen, our first grand finalist will be LNN SLFO. I mean, I think everyone noticed in the quarterfinals were like, you know, LNN SLFO. Yeah, I think these guys are gonna be seen in the grand finals later on, and that's basically what happened. They won out on this best of 5 whole sweep, 3-0, and it's just a huge congratulations to LNN SLFO as expected from these guys. And so this is the post game. That's a 14-minute game, 32-16 on the kills. And so talking about the gold, it's not I mean, it's quite expected, you know. Everyone's kind of like more than 10k on the side of SLFO. On the other hand, perhaps in MVL, kind of struggling back there. I mean, at least Skyzen crossed the 10k mark, so that's good. But nonetheless, it was a good game. It was a good matchup between the two teams. I'm really glad to see MVL Esports go up against SLFO once again, and SLFO just stepping out their legend as usual. And so, ladies and gentlemen, our first grand finals once again, it's SLFO and our MVPs, a Doctor with the Basha 4-1-20 on that KDA. And the item build, it's mostly actually a tanky build for Spaksha. You can see the Dominion Eyes as well as the bunch of the other armor. And if I'm correct, there's not even like a single, actually I don't think there's a single aggressive item back there, or maybe my eyes are just kind of like playing games on me. But this is more or less a full defensive box shot, and they're banking on Midnight for a lot of that damage as well as the 10 custard. So great job, ladies and gentlemen, on LNN SLFO. This is the updated bracketing of our Esports Flash series, and we can see SLFO, MVL Esports, they move forward with the victory of LNN SLFO. We'll be seeing them tomorrow in the grand finals for the best of 7, and we'll be moving on to the next bracket. That's VJ Esports versus Thashi Boyz. Whoever will win on this next semifinals, on this next best of 5, will be going up against LNN SLFO tomorrow on this grand finals. But before the next best of 5 happens, we will be taking a short break as usual. So guys, do not go anywhere. We'll be seeing you soon in a few minutes.
Welcome to Ooredoo Nation.
Kia balakiene kalu kalu kuru kuru kalu kalu kiruli kukulu fast ko kiala karkur kalu kirulu no kalu kuru kalu kiruli kukulu
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ನೆಟ್
kalu kuru kalu kiruli kukulu
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ನೆಟ್ ಎದು ಸ್ಮಿಯಂ ಐ ಲಿವೆ
ಫೋನುಗ ವಿಬುಳಿ ಹಯಾತಾನ ಟುಂಗುಳಿಲನೀತ ಕುಮ್ಮಿಸಕಿ ಮೇಜುಗ ಎಫಶಿ ಗೇಮುಗ ಕುಳುನು ಸ್ಪೀಡುಗ ಎ ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಗಂಡ
Snap kure esa ka meme taka e furi feeduga e teku toku fura e fitu cheku taka ve OG fasha e sali trend ka e ki bajiduwa
Fursat libni technology libe kuri eroma eko haru fatuga libe hus baguta bagutung ufala libe huwa fentak fuga veche libe fa
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೊಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್.
Bebe, bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕುರಿಯರುಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಮಡುಕುರು ಮೀ ವರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ಲುಮ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ
ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಇತುರು ಹರಫತಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಸಳಿ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಉರಿದು
ಜಾಣುತ್ತ ಏಕೆ ಹ್ಯಾರಾಕಿತ ಏಕೆ ಹತಿಯಾರುತ್ತ ಏಕೆ ಹಮಲಾದಿ ಫುರುಳಿನ ಫಾದುವ ಗ್ಯಾಗಾದಾನ ತರು ಬ್ಯಾಬಾಕುರ ಫುಮ್ಮಾದ ಬ್ಯಾಕುಡಾಗಾದುರ ಮುಜಿಯಾರು ಕಮುಕದೂಡು ವ್ಯಾಲಾಫುರ ಕಾಕಬ್ಬಾರದ್ದುತ್ತ ವೇಣಿ ಹಗುಡಾಮತ ಕಫಸ್ಕಿಚ್ಚ ಹೇಣಿ ದೈವರ್ ಸಫೈ ಪುರವೇಣಿ ದಿವ ಇಕ್ಕೊ ಟೀಮ್ ಕಿಂಗ್ ಗುಡವೇಣಿ ಹಿಂಗಾಬದಂ ಕಾಕು ಹಿಗೇಮಿ ಕಾಕತ್ತುರೆ ಕಾಕು ಹಿಬೇಡಿ ಕಾಕಬ್ಬ ಏ ಹುರವೇಣಿ ಫಹುಮಿ ಹೆಕ ಕಿಕ್ಕುರವೇಣಿ ದೀವು ವಾಣಿ ಮೀ ಮಗೆ ಮಹಲ್ ಮಗೆ ರಾಜ ಮೀ ಮಗೆ ವತನ್
Welcome to Ooredoo Nation.
किया ಬಲ ಕಿಯಣೆ ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಕುಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಕುಳು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಕ್ಕಿಯಾಲ ಕರ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ನೋ ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಕುಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್
ಕಳ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಕುಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್ ಎದು ಸ್ಮಿಯಂ ಐ ಲಿವೆ
ಫೋನುಗಾ ವಿಬುಳಿ ಹಯಾತಾನ ಟುಂಗುಳಿಲ ನೀತ ಕುಮ್ಮಿಸಕಿ ಮೇಜುಗಾ ಎಫಶಿ ಗೇಮುಗಾ ಕುಳುನು ಸ್ಪೀಡುಗಾ ಎ ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಗಣ
ಸ್ನೆಪ್ ಕುರೆ ಎಸಕ ಮೀಮ್ ತಕ ಎ ಫುರಿ ಫೀಡುಗ ಎ ಟೆಕು ಟಕು ಫುರ ಎ ಫಿಟು ಚೆಕು ತಕ ಬೆ ಓಜಿ ಫಶ ಎ ಸಳಿ ಟ್ರೆಂಡಕ ಎ ಕಿ ಬಜಿದುವಾ
Purusanta libuni technology libe kuri eruma eko haru fatuga libe hus baguta bagutung ufala libe huwa fenta fuga veche libe fa
Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೋಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕುರಿಯರು ಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರು ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಮಡುಕುರುಮ್ಮಿ ವರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ದುಮ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಇತುರು ಹರಫತಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಸಳಿ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಉರಿದು
एक है जानू तो एक है राकिता एक हथियार उतर के हमला दी फुरने लाफा दुआ क्या गादा ना तरुण बैकुरा फुमा द बैकुडा गादुरा मुझे यारू कम को दूर वाला फुरा काका बारा तो तवेनी हकुदा मत का फस्की चहेनी they will survive for the veni diva iko team king for the veni nga padan ka ko gaming ka ture ka ko bedi ka pa e for the veni fahumi he ka ko the veni diva wan mi mage mahal mage raj mi mage matal
Welcome to Ooredoo Nation.
ಕಿಯಾ ಬಲ ಕಿಯಾಣೆ ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಕುಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಕುಳು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಕ್ಕಿಯಾಲ ಕರ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ನೋ ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಕುಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟೇ ಇದು ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್
ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಕುಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟೇ ಇದು ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್ ಎದು ಸ್ಮಿಯಂ ಐ ಲಿವೆ
ಫೋನು ಗಾವೆ ಮುಳಿ ಹಯಾತಾನ ಟುಂಗುಳಿಲನಿ ತಕುಮ್ಮಿಸಕಿ ಮೇಜುಗಾ ಎಫಶಿ ಗೇಮುಗಾ ಕುಳುನು ಸ್ಪೀಡುಗಾ ಎ ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಗಣ ಸ್ನೆಪ್ ಕುರೆ ಎಸಕ ಮೀಮ್ ತಕ ಎ ಫುರಿ ಫೀಡುಗಾ ಎ ಟೆಕು ಟಕು ಫುರಾ ಎ ಫಿಟು ಚೆಕು ತಕ ಬೆ ಓಜಿ ಫಶಾ ಎ ಸಾಳಿ ಟ್ರೆಂಡಕ ಎ ಕಿ ಬಜಿದುವಾ
Puro santo liberne technology libe kuri eroma eko haru fatuga tibe hus baguta bagutung ufala libe huwa fentak kuga veche libe fa
Jasalima fighti libe Jasalima fighti libe Jasalima fighti libe Jasalima fighti libe ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೋಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದೊಮ್ಮೆ ಒಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕುರಿಯರು ಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಮಡುಕುರುಮ್ಮಿ ವರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ಲುಮ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಇತುರು ಹರಫತಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಸಳಿ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಉರಿದು
एक है जानू तो एक है racket एक hatiyaar utar ke hamla di furne la fadua gaga dana tarum ba kura fuma da ba kuda ga dura mujhe yaru kam ko du ba la fura ka kabara tu te veni hakuda mat ka faski cheni dai bal sa fight pura veni diva ikko team king pura veni ga padan ka ko gaming ka kature ka ko bedi ka kapa e hur veni fahumi he ka kure veni di buwane mi mage mahal mage raja mi mage matal
Welcome to Ooredoo Nation.
किया बला किया काळू काळू कुरु कुरु काळू काळू किरुळी कुकुळू किरुळु कुकुळू फास्ट को किया करकुर काळू किरुळु नो 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 काळू कुरु काळू किरुळी कुकुळू
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್
काळू कुरु काळू किरुळी कुकुळू
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್ ಎದು ಸ್ಮಿಯಂ ಐ ಲಿವೆ ಲಿವೆ
Fonuga vibuli hayata netumbulilani takummisaki mezuga efesh gameуга kululu speeduga e PUBG ganda
snap kure aisa ka meme taka e furi feeduga e TikTok fura e fit check taka ve OG fasha e sali trend ka e ki wajidwa
Puro santa liberne technology libe kuri eroma eko haru fatuga tibe hus baguta magutung ufala libe huwa fentak kuga veche libe fa
Salima fighti libe 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 just Salima fighti libe 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 just Salima fighti libe 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 just Salima fighti libe ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೋಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಕುರಿಯರುಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ
And so we are back once again after a pretty short break. And so this is still Esports Flash Series Mobile Legends Bang Bang by Ooredoo Nation. And so, I mean, we saw the first series between LNN SLFO and MVL Esports. And it was, of course, the victory of LNN SLFO. And coming up next, it's actually going to be the second series of the semifinals. Still a best of 5 between Vanguard Esports and Thashi Boyz. So whoever will win this matchup later on is going to be going up against LNN SLFO on the best of 7 tomorrow, and whoever loses will be going on to a bronze match with MVL Esports on a best of 3 tomorrow as well. So well, VG Esports with Thashi Boys. I wonder what this matchup is going to look like later on because, as I said yesterday, I didn't have quite a lot of information about them beforehand on the tournament. The only thing we know, rather I know about them, is what they, how they played rather, during their quarterfinals. So this is going to be a pretty new matchup, and I'm kind of looking at what Naglu Baglu's picture looks like, what they submitted as their photo. I mean, wait a minute, wait a minute. Let me get my phone. Guys looking like that. I'm just kidding. Wait, the wrong side of the face. I'm just kidding. Naglu Baglu, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. And VG Esports, no picture, but then yeah. I like the Thashi Boys. They have like a bit of a, you know, like selfie sort of vibe on the pictures that they submitted. And actually never mind. With Thashi Boys, these guys are familiar. I know Death Defeat L, Omega, these guys are pretty familiar. So looking forward to what this matchup will look like later on. But yeah, VG Esports, I'm not too familiar with them, but they did really well yesterday. I'm kind of excited to see what this matchup will look like between the two teams. I mean, they both won their particular quarterfinals, so they're definitely teams that we should be looking out for. But then again, it was a best of 3. This time it's going to be a best of 5. So you don't only need 2 wins for you to move forward to the grand finals. You need 3 wins. And so it's a little bit more pressure, but still the teams can handle it, so we can just be fine about that. But right now, VG Esports and Butashi Boys, they have their bans already picked out. So there's a pretty fast banning phase, but the Joy will be taken out of the picture, as well as the Amon and the Grok that's on the side of VG Esports. For Butashi Boys, they're going to be banning, yes, the usual Diggy, the semi-usual Guinevere, and of course, all the Kagura got banned as well. So VG Esports using up that Obsidia for the first pick, which I think they are the team that used Obsidia yesterday as well, and Obsidia is just a marksman, a fairly new marksman, but the mechanics of their basic attack is kind of something to kind of watch out for. So definitely do not want to feed that Obsidia with a lot of items, especially early on. Okay, I think we're swapping the names. Okay, it's VG Esports that has Omega, Kami, Deathbeat L. So they're the familiar guys. And looks like Deathbeat L will be getting their usual Isan Shin. And Naglubaglu will have the Xborg on their side. And it looks like IE will be taking the Farsa as usual. And Kaiden Break will be taking their usual Angela as well. Okay, so pretty familiar with the quarterfinals yesterday. And so that's, there can't be 2 Obsidias. So there's something up here. You know what? Let's just see what the game looks like some more. Maybe someone used Sora. They're not told that they're not allowed to use Sora again. I don't know. Let's just see what it looks like in the in game later on. But yeah, as far as we know, it looks like next door, Kaiden Break and IE, they have their picks. It's Obsidia, Angela, and Farsa. On the other hand, VG Esports, Omega chose Obsidia, Deathbeat L chose Isan Shin, and Naglubaglu chose Xborg. So I think we'll clear stuff up later on. But as of this moment, we're going on to the bans. Brody's going to be banned by VG Esports, which is a marksman. So that should like maybe by assumptions, that means Butashi Boys probably didn't choose Obsidia because why would VG Esports ban Iksha and the Brody as well? So I don't think next door took Obsidia. And so with that, you know what, let's just keep watching Butashi Boys banned out the Eve and the Carmilla, so we're already done and dusted with the two banning phases. They're quite fast in banning. I like these guys. I don't like it, it's just the banning phase, and you take like the whole minute to pick out your bans. I'm just like, come on, please just ban like Diggy, Lapu Lapu, get it over with. Come on, guys. But then we're back to the picking, and it should be either Kami or Broken from VG Esports to be the first to sort of pick. I love Broken with the phone. Kind of like, hello, what should I pick, guys? What should I pick for our lineup? You should definitely pick a tank because you have the Titian, which is a mage, and Obsidia, um, that's a marksman, and Defeat else Essential um isn't that very tanky, and we have Nugglebuglu, which could be tanky, but it's not something that you can like you know like export cannot tank for you guys. They don't have the enough crowd control for that. They can't hold back the rest of Butashi boys. So definitely a good tank perhaps for Broken. Then nonetheless, Legends and Ramen will be getting their picks. Legends is using Clink, and Ramen will be using the Lucas. So there's Butashi Boys has Legends with the Marksman. So let's just see what happens later on. Yeah, it's definitely not making sense as of the moment. So Broken should be picking out, yeah, a roamer supposedly. And they're taking their sweet time, so some good choices. Actually Broken could really use so a hero that they're really like comfortable with, and it looks like it's gonna be a Kalia. So that's a lot of crowd control, also bringing like someone from the back lines forward. So that's also a good idea, especially since you'll want to take that Clint or that Farsa away from the back lines, and take their damage dealers first. So actually both teams, it doesn't look like they have a lot of tankiness. They don't have like full on tanks on their lineup, so I think they don't have to worry too much about maybe crowd control or something. They just have to pick off the damage dealers as quickly as possible. So I have no qualms about the lineup. Maybe there's just something funny about a next door. So yeah, I think it's pretty well rounded. I think there's a lot of reliance on the Lucas for the side of Butashi Boys, and also the Xborg for esports in terms of tankiness and taking a lot of that damage, because there's quite a lot of squishy characters that they sort of picked for this lineup on both sides. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the second series for the semifinals. Butashi Boys versus VG Esports on this best of 5. Whoever so wins in this series with 3 games, with 3 victories, will be going up against LNN SLFO tomorrow on the grand finals. Whoever loses will be going up against MVL Esports in the best of 3 for the bronze match. But here we're going to be getting started with things. No invade so far. The junglers are all minding their own business, and yeah, as I suspected, there is a Sora up top. So that's actually going to be next door, getting that Sora. Potential 4 versus 2 the bottom lane. You can see Ramen's running away from all this mess, and so not bad at the start for VG Esports, putting a lot of pressure and disrupting the farm of Butashi Boys already. So it looks like the Sora will be going up against the X-Born as of this moment, but Omega takes down Legends. Alright, we have our first blood, and of all people, it's going to be the carry of Butashi Boys. It's definitely going to set back the farm of Thashi Boyz. And you can see VG Esports doing so well, trying to take down the damage dealers. IE is gonna be going down next. And you can see VG Esports has sights on the gold lane. Do not want to give the farm for Thashi Boyz for Legends. You can see Legends just holding out on that mid turret on the bottom. And Ramen's making quick work on that turtle saying so it's gonna trade off, I suppose. It's just a little bit hard on Thashi Boyz to kind of catch up on that 7k gold lead. And look at that beautiful Farsa ultimate just setting out, pushing away the rest of VG Esports, trying to invade their jungle. So Thashi Boyz, there's a 3 bodyguard jungler that we're looking at right now, because VG Esports is going really aggressive on their pushes so early on to the game, and right now they're disrupting the farm of Legends. You can see that bottom turret, that bottom outer turret, has already been taken down by VG Esports. It just helps disrupt the farm of Legends, and so it's gonna be a little bit hard for Clint to get their items safely. Okay, we have IE using that the ultimate, but is immediately caught out by that Nagubag. But Ramen's gonna be going down first. FL is going to take advantage of that, but Legend's gonna be falling down next, and that's a tower dive that we're watching out for. L does not fear death, and now VG Esports a 4-man push on that bottom turret. I think it's going really well as of this moment. VG Esports, there's such a weak link at the bottom lane as of the moment. You can see they're targeting Legends as of this moment. They do not want to give any sort of chance for Legends to kind of scale up back there. And already you can see Death L 3-0 to 3 on the KDA, and so it's gonna help out so much in terms of farm. And Omega has the other 3 kills. So 2 damage dealers, absolutely crazy amount of gold taken 4 minutes into the game. And so look at the gold lead for VG Esports. It's actually 3.3k gold lead for VG Esports, and now they have sight on the turtle as well. We can have a turtle on the side of VG Esports this time around, so it's a 1-for-1. And it looks like actually next door got taken down back there. And Legends, looks like Thashi Boyz is actually choosing another strategy. They're putting Legends up top because they know that it's not safe at the gold lane anymore. So VG Esports reads on that immediately and then tries to take Legend down. And so they backed up so far, but they're not setting sights on the upper turret just yet. But here, there's a 3-man push from Thashi Boyz on the mid lane. And VG Esports is slowly but surely positioning themselves towards the next turtle already. But it's still gonna be more than a minute left to go. You can see that VG Esports is already steadily taking those items, and Ramen just got jumped by 3 players from VG Esports. So this is going to be their strategy from now on, like strength in numbers, and VG Esports going completely aggressive, finding one player sort of like they look for like 1 or 2 players separated from the rest of the pack, and then they go ahead and go with that 3 or 4-man rush. Okay, we have a jump from Kalia, but Broken is going to be backing away really quickly, and there's backup from the rest of the players from VG later on. But here we have a tower dive. We have the tower being taken down. Legend taking a lot of damage back there. Kalia with that jump, nice set. But next door is going to be jumping away really quickly. Omega's quite low on health, so I think they're going to be VG Esports is going to hold back real quick. They don't want to go to a team fight with way less numbers that they have, and no less, that's the carry that they have as well. But here Angela is right on top of Ramen as of this moment, so that just helps scare VG Esports away really quickly. They don't want to get caught up with that Lucas Angela combo. Here, last turn was gonna be going to VG Esports. Definitely uncontested, especially since VG Esports, as of this moment, they have the map control. But next door, okay, they're gonna be starting this fight. Broken is gonna be quite low on health, and they're gonna be broken as of this moment. Alright, that's a 1-for-0 trade. I think Broken just got caught off guard back there. Alright, we're looking at the emblems real quick. There's a lot of magical damage coming in from Thashi Boyz. It's actually 4 out of 5. Next door has a sort of an assassin build, but here we saw the double kill of Deathfeed L really quickly, and VG Esports a little bit more spread out. I like the variety of the emblem, but here Kami got chased down really quickly, but managed to get away, and rather a middle left to go before the Lord pops up. But here the Angela is going to go to Ramen because Ramen got caught up in a 2 versus 1, but still it's not gonna be enough to save him. VG Esports takes that kill nonetheless. 0-3-0 on the KDA for Ramen as of this moment. Legends 0-4-1. So just a little bit of a struggle for Thashi Boyz, and VG Esports making sure that they keep the momentum. They don't let Thashi Boyz bounce back from any of this. And so they're doing quick work of that. I think what VG Esports can do as of this moment is kind of focus on the map control this time. They're focusing a lot on the ganks, and it's really doing well, but as of this moment they have to kind of focus a little bit more on the objectives from now on. But right now, a lot of the turrets are already going to be going down. It's going to be taking a little bit longer on the pushes, especially since the players are trying to go a 3 or 4 man push as rather like almost all the time there's only 3 or 4 man push, so it's gonna be not a lot of variety in terms of kind of pushing the minion lanes. It's gonna take a little bit longer, but as of this moment, in terms of gold lead and momentum snowball, their tactics of ganking is doing really well as of this moment. You can see another gank, 5-man push towards the bottom lane, and it looks like Omega is gonna be the first casualty, and Nakubaku is coming in second. Alright, Thashi Boyz is getting a little bit of a breather. Titanbreak's gonna be falling, however, Broken as well, and so that's 3 casualties on both sides. And it looks like both teams are going to be backing away real quick, especially since that Lord is already marching towards the bottom lane. You can see Legends like literally standing next to that inhibitor turret on the bottom lane, ready to take down that Lord. And on the other hand, Kami and Deathfeed L are going to be the last people standing on VG Esports. They're still nearby the base of the Thashi Boyz, but next door is gonna be sort of trying to stop the place out. Angela is gonna be supporting them, but it's gonna be a potential 4 versus 2 if they're going to be taking this fight for themselves. VG Esports already straight up respawning. The Thashi Boyz forced back into their base. Okay, let's see if they're going to go for a tower dive. Alright, we have a little bit of a problem here because of the Farsa ultimate, and still no casualties on the side of VG Esports. Until now, it's Nangubang who's going to be falling first. IE and next door got taken down back there. So, 2 kills for the side of VG Esports on that team fight. And the Lord has been taken down, so Thashi Boyz has a little bit of a breather. Alright, we're seeing a little bit of a dive from Ramen. That's not really a good idea, especially there was a 4 versus 2. They still have the Angela, but oh my gosh, Omega took a lot of damage back there. Legends is slowly but surely getting their items. Okay, VG Esports has to end this as fast as possible. You can see, yeah, you could probably be a bit nervous about the amount of damage shelled out by Legend back there. Although Legends got taken down, still, if Thashi Boyz supports that Legends and then basically let Legends hide on the back lines later on, then VG Esports could probably be having a little bit of a hard time ending this game. It's kind of making me a little bit nervous, but here it's still 5 versus 5, so just don't get picked off a little bit too early. VG Esports definitely not going to overstep their boundaries. They're gonna have to focus a lot more on the map control, just clearing out those minions, making sure those minions are going to be marching straight on towards the base. They can go ahead and try to clear out the mid lane as well as the bottom lane. Right, the bottom lane they'll probably have to concede in favor of the Lord. So Nagalbaku's kind of staying there, making sure that they have a little bit more information. And so that information is helping out VG Esports to kind of position themselves. See Botashi Boyz, they're trying their best to kind of clear out the base and try to keep their inhibitor turrets. Because once their inhibitor turrets go down, it's going to be harder to take down the rest of the minions that will be spawning from the side of VG Esports. And so Lord's going to be marching up top, and VG Esports is going to be focusing on the bottom. They're going to be pushing those minions. It's going to be 5-man push on the minion wave at the mid lane for Botashi Boyz, and looks like VG Esports will be focusing on the bottom. Forza Ultimate coming right up, making a VG Esports kind of a little bit hard. And that was a nice stun beside of VG Esports, but it's not going to be followed up quite nicely just yet. We hear the Lords knocking on the top lane of rather Botashi Boyz, and VG Esports be mining that real quickly. They're gonna be looking at that mid lane turret instead, and the Lord's gonna be destroying that top lane turret quite immediately. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that was a nice push, nice strategy from VG Esports as of the moment. Okay, it's gonna be 3 versus 4. That's gonna 2 versus 4. Ramen and IE are still alive, but it doesn't matter. That base is already broken. Victory! Through and through. VG Esports. Beautiful execution on their strategy. You can see they had a mission in mind and they executed it flawlessly. They started off with the ganks, the 4-man ganks on the gold lane of all places. They started with the 4-man ganks in the early game. And then in the mid game it was like focus a little bit on the pushing, taking down the turrets, but definitely strength in numbers still. And so it worked out really well. They caught like 1 or 2 players separated from the pack and sort of a divide and conquer sort of thing, and then they racked up a lot of those kill points, and that translated to gold, that translated to map control, and VG Esports rode on that momentum immediately, and that just translated to their victory. With Thashi Boyz, they can definitely hold out and maybe switch up their strategy as well, because playing vanilla will definitely not counter the sheer strategy that VG Esports of the moment. And our MVP is actually Defeat L with a 9-0 to 14 KDA, 902 on the GPM, 96% KP. And the item build, actually, that's 5 full items. We have 1 item slot left, still building, but they didn't need that quite too much because the game is already done. So first game done to be on the favor of Vanguard Esports. So congratulations once again to Vanguard Esports. So um it's gonna be quite nice. Let's just go ahead and go to our second game really quickly. So no break whatsoever as usual. We saw that in the previous series. So we're going straight to game number 2, and of course game number 3 as well. And if a game number 4 happens, then we'll probably go straight to that as well. So I think the backend kind of allowed Sora to be used, I suppose. They're not having like a riot or anything like that, but you know what? If ever we have announcements, we'll hear from them. But as of now, I think maybe if you guys choose Sora again, maybe the backend will be okay with it. But nonetheless, let's just go ahead and with the game. If ever there are like qualms about it, so we'll definitely hear from the backend. But so far we're all cool. That was a victory won cleanly by VG Esports, and Botashi Boyz, I think Like in terms of the lineup, they should probably. I mean, the lineup is fine. It's just the execution of the strategy towards the early and mid game. You can see that VG Esports, they're doing the ganking strategy, and Butashi Boys didn't try to counter that. They still continued playing the game as per usual, like it's a normal ranking game, and you can't do that. You have to give counter strategies. What they can do, maybe try out aggressive approaches, maybe invades, try to disrupt the farms of VG Esports. And definitely Butashi Boys tried to kind of counter a little bit from VG Esports' bullying on the gold lane. They threw legends, they threw the Clint to the top lane so they can farm peacefully, and still VG Esports did not give them that peace. Legends just couldn't farm in peace, and that was one of the downfalls of Butashi Boys. But then yeah, um nonetheless, we're just gonna go ahead and play around with the game. And so yeah, we're gonna, like, it's fine. We're just going to be keeping watch for what the lineup is gonna look like, and it looks like Obsidio will be banned this time around. All right, guys. We have the Guinevere, we have the Kaguro, and we have the Brody banned on the side of VG Esports, and Butashi Boys will be banning the Obsidia, the Amon, and the Joy. So Diggy is open, Lapu Lapu is open, but I'm not quite sure if any of these players actually are mains of those heroes. So maybe there's no point in banning them either way. So definitely the Guinevere. Maybe there's a player over here that plays Guinevere, especially on the side of Butashi Boys, because BG Esports, they've banned that Guinevere twice in a row. But here, finally, they see that the gate is open and Broken will be taking that Digi for themselves. So Butashi Boys will be answering that with an Iksha. And who else is open? I mean, Granger is open if okay, no, Legends is seeking the Isha, so VG Esports could potentially take the Granger for themselves as well if they wanted to. And who else is open? So the pull-up was still open, but I'm not sure if their gold laner or their XP laner would like a Lapu-Lapu on their side. And it looks like IE will still be taking their Farja. And let me tell you, the Farja of IE, or like Farsi just in general, is something that that's something that you'd worry about. See, Farsa's ultimate has such a huge area, so you can reach out to maybe like a quarter of the map from just Farsa alone. And it's a lot of damage as well, especially if you know how to build with Farsa. And the ultimate, you do not actually need fleeting time because the cooldown on that ultimate is actually quite low. So Farsa definitely a good choice as long as you know how to position yourselves. I've seen Farsa being used by like other esports players as well, but it's not as common here in Ooredoo Nation. And I might be a little bit outdated on the Farsa as well because there's a time that they kind of fell off from the meta, but they got buffed quite recently, maybe a couple months ago. But here we have the rest of the team. It looks like Broken will be getting that Diggy, and Luglu Baglu will have an encore for their export, and Kami has the Grok for themselves. Butashi Boys has the Hilda for Kaden Break, and that is Hilda, right? And Hilda and Legends will have the Iksha. So nice AoE on the ultimate, and it's definitely hitting hard as usual. And IE, yes, also AoE. So VG Sports could use a little bit more damage, especially since they have a support and attack. So okay, Broken could go on the mid lane. One moment. So Broken is usually the roamer, however. So Kami, maybe they'll put the Grok on the top lane instead. Okay, let's just see what VG Esports will how VG Esports will do their rotations later on. But VG Esports needs glass cannons for their last two picks later on because it's way too little damage. The Diggy, the Kami, the Grok rather, and Nuglebug's X-board, they're not gonna be hard hitting. So you need a really hard hitting marksman as well as a mage that sort of prioritizes damage. There's some mages that are prioritizing on support, right? I mean, we have the Loyi mostly for crowd control, but no, we need mages that hit hard. Like for example, we can have Vixana, little bit of a like maybe not Valir. Valir's leaning more on the support. The Farsa would have been a really good choice. Maybe Odette is also a good choice for a really hard hitting mage that VG Esports can use. But you know what? It's a huge hero pool, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Ooh, it's an interesting ban. It's the Ling, so that's actually quite a good choice. Also, if ever VG Esports has a jungler who uses the Ling really well, lots of mobility, and you have the Diggy as well. So Ling's counters can be countered by that Diggy potentially. Okay, we have the full on bans already. We have the Ling and the Lancelot banned by Butashi Boys, and VG Esports has banned the Isun Shin and the Florian. So there's a lot of junglers that are out of the picture, and both teams still need junglers. Ramen still needs a jungler, and Death L as well. So now that Isun Shin and Lancelot and out of the picture, the jungle hero pool is quite considerably smaller if we only consider the meta as of the moment. So let's just keep watching as to what they're going to be picking. All right, so it looks like we're gonna be seeing um uh, we're gonna be seeing another Sora from next door. So Ramen will be choosing the jungler last, I suppose. So they're gonna be putting a little bit of a suspense back here. So it looks like the other team, VG Esports, will be hovering about on their picks as well, and hopefully we see a lot of hard hitting marksmen, as well as they need also a jungler, so they need a hard hitting jungler as well. So Broken potentially will be put in the mid lane, that or Kami will be in the mid lane. So we have a very good choice on the Roger. I'm not quite sure how Roger fits in the meta as of this moment anymore. So um like a few months ago, maybe last year, up to maybe mid this year, Roger is a pretty big staple on the meta, especially in the esports scene. But I haven't seen Roger being used all that much so far during the last few seasons of the MLBB tournaments here. But the Nolan, it's been a while before since Nolan was like a meta. So I mean, people were very scared of Nolan before, but as of this moment, Nolan, I think there's a bunch of counters against Nolan already. So, you know what? Let's just see how Death L sort of kind of executes this. It looks like Ramen will be taking the Hayabusa, so that's a lot of movement as well. So let's just see what the execution will look like later on. Still, the Sora from next door is doing really well. So definitely, since it's not I mean, it's working out really well for Butashi Boys. I saw like the sets from that next door from the Sora a while ago. It did really well to sort of support the rest of Butashi Boys. But as of this moment, I think Butashi Boys can't bank too much on crowd control, especially since there's a Jiggy over there, and Death L and Omega have to build full damage, or maybe they can hope to get the Diggy to sort of put a lot of magical damage instead of tankiness, because they definitely need the damage, especially since they prioritized on supports and also the tank from Grok. So here we have it. We're gonna be starting for our game number 2 between Thashi Boyz and VG Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the semifinals by Ooredoo Nation's Esports Flash series. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course follow the Instagram for the announcement. There's so many tournaments on Ooredoo Nation, so it doesn't limit themselves to MLBB. If you guys are a fan of PUBG, there's so many PUBG tournaments as well. Like, I don't know, maybe every other month at least. And of course, if you guys like Valorant as well, we also have Valorant tournaments, and it looks like something's happening on the gold lane. Actually, there was a bit of a gank, and there was one casualty. That's actually going to be, at least it was just Kami. So actually, never mind. It's not just at least Kami. Kami is technically the mid laner here, but it's a good thing it's not Omega that got picked off back there by VG Esports. It looks like Thashi Boyz is taking a page out of the strategies of VG Esports, and they went for the gank, the early game gank. And looks like Hide and Break is doing thumbs up, almost got caught up right there. And it looks like VG Esports are not going too aggressive at this time around. Next door's trying to poke around on the top lane, and it looks like our Hayabusas already positioning themselves towards the turtle. They're just pushing back Nugglebugglers. 4 versus 1 potentially if they try to take this fight for themselves. But as we said, Export's pretty tanky, so don't have to worry too much about that. Definitely All is still on the blue buff, so I don't think the turtle will be going on to the side of VG Esports. Never mind. I'll find someone like you. Definitely I'll took that turtle anyways. Okay, this is a 4 versus 3 waiting to happen, but Thashi Boyz immediately try to disengage. Nice job on the VG Esports. I really thought Thashi Boyz probably had that turtle in hand, but nope, it's not happening. Kate and Break will be taken down by VG Esports. After that gank on the gold lane, I really thought Thashi Boyz, okay, they're going on the aggressive. I'm really proud of them, and they're trying to start, with this second game on the right foot. But as of this moment, we're not really seeing much follow-up after that. And now potential gank on the bottom lane. Alright, Grok's wall trying to trap that Iksha into place, and Deathbeat L took that kill for themselves. Alright, Ziggy's coming at the bottom, just expecting maybe Thashi Boyz might be following up with the support, but it looks like that's not the case. And everyone's kind of just like going back to their places instead. And you can see the top laners are in their own world, but X-Door is gonna be taken down by Nugglebuggle back there. Alright, Hilda is coming to the rescue. However, it looks like IU will be taking that kill for themselves. However, okay, Ramen's kind of like trying to poke here and there, but they're all alone, so they're gonna be backing away really quickly. They don't want to be caught up by a Kami Omega combo as of this moment. So right now, about 20 seconds left to go before that next turtle is gonna be popping up. And as of this moment, I think there's a 3-man ambush towards Deathbeat L from the side of Thashi Boyz. Okay, great job for Thashi Boyz from getting that gank in. Okay, Omega is gonna get caught up. Alright, it's a good thing they managed to get away with that movement speed of that Roger. Alright, we have VG Esports kind of going to the rescue on Omega, and it's a good thing that Healing did its job. They don't have to go ahead and go back to base and miss out on all this farm. Nonetheless, somewhere out there, Nugglebuggle kind of got picked off back there, and it looks like the turtle will be going to Thashi Boyz this time around. That Tweetel's kind of just a little bit too late to the party. You can see that they tried to kind of walk to the turtle, but here's potentially a team fight at the bottom, but Kaden Break tries to push in. All right, potential 3 versus 1, but Legends immediately puts out that ultimate, and so that scares away VG Esports. They disengaged immediately. And there we have it, kind of quickly here and there. Potential 4 versus 2. Okay, kind of took a bit of damage back there. And IE coming in with a lot of that damage, gets stunned and so get pushed back by that Grok wall, killing that ultimate off. That's a good strategy coming in from Grok. Alright. And kind of watching out to what else is going to be happening, especially in the mid lane. Wall coming right up near the turret, but no engage yet. Next door is literally just watching that blue buff of VG Esports. And Death Vital is gonna be getting started on that. And Omega catches next door. Gonna get supported by Kami as well, and that just pushes back next door. And it looks like it might be a 5 versus 5 up in the middle. Forza ultimate being expended as of the moment. Kaden Break quite low on health, gets taken down by Naglubagu. And Kami's gonna be caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, but Thashi Boyz pushes back, disengages, cuts their losses. See IE and Legends, they're very low on health, and that's their main damage dealers. But next door doesn't stop them, and Ramen's also nearby. Naglubagu gets taken down once again. Guys, the XP laners, they're bringing their fights everywhere. I mean, you'd expect that maybe there'll be kills up top, but here at the mid, they're also going up against each other still. But here, Thashi Boyz heavily stacking up near the turtle, and CVG Esports a little bit late to the party, but they're still early enough to try to contest this turtle. Alright, Farsa's ultimate coming right up, and it looks like Ixia's ultimate as well, but Death Vital steals that turtle nonetheless. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the second turtle, the second and the last turtle, going to VG Esports, and potentially maybe a team fight towards the mid lane. Ramen's just poking here and there. Wall coming right up, but no follow-up after that. We have a minute and a half left to go before that next Lord's gonna come right up. Alright. As of this moment, not much of a gold lead, which is good, especially since it was really worrying the sort of gold lead that VG Esports had compared to Thashi Boyz. But this time around, it's about maybe 1.5k gold lead for Thashi Boyz this time around. So despite VG Esports having the 2 turtles, Thashi Boyz has more gold. So okay, we have the wall catching IE off guard, and you can see the beautiful follow-up coming in from VG Esports. Nice set from Broken back there. Naglubagu might be taken. Nope. Ramen's gonna be backing away real quick. They're not gonna be taking that fight for themselves. And Lethal Wonder is just gonna be probably going to the side of VG Esports. What just happened back there? That L just shook that kill up against Legends. 0 to 2 to 1 on the KDA on Legends as of this moment. Oh, tower dive, nice one for the side of VG Esports. Very aggressive, but IE's already respawned, and that just scared away VG Esports. So Ramen might be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Alright, that ultimate can only save you so far, but that Vital just it was kind of inevitable, you know. They just punished Ramen for just overextending just a little bit on the map. But here, kind of Break and Broken are kind of just looking around each other. They're both just roams, so they don't have to worry too much about that. But it looks like Broken and Naglubagu was kind of scouting the place out. We're gonna get some more information, making sure that this Lord will not be contested too much. But Kaiden Break is nearby, giving vision towards Thashi Boyz. Kaiden Break trying to go here and maybe perhaps steal this, and that's just distracting the rest of VG Esports. And this is a Lord dance, ladies and gentlemen. 5 versus 5. First casualty, Kaiden Break falls. The Lord goes to VG Esports, and let's see if there will be more kills. It looks like Kami will be falling down. Next door is going to be following up. That's Vital getting that double kill in hand, as well as the Lord, and that is A 1-4-2 trade. VG Esports taking the first Lord for themselves. Still quite weak a Lord because it's still 10 minutes into the game, but still would help quite a lot in terms of map control. But here, Omega takes down IE. Broken's quite low on health, they have to move back, and so that means Omega and Kami are probably going to be disengaging as of this moment. Alright, Cannon Break is up and running. A bit of damage, quite a lot of damage. Okay, they're deciding to engage up against Cannon Break. Alright, there's the rest of the follow-up coming in from the Thashi Boyz. That turret's gonna be going down, wall up. And Omega is gonna be coming following up, and Ramen takes Broken as well. That's 3 casualties from VG Esports. That was not a good initiation on the part of VG Esports, and they lost 3 players after that. So perhaps they just needed, actually they quite needed that Feet L to sort of shell out the damage, especially after Omega got taken down back there. And so with that, Thashi Boyz, they can't like take the Lord because it still has a minute and a half left to go. So VG Esports are kind of like, you know, they don't have to worry too much about that, but at least they have the gold lead as of this moment. It's not too much of a big gap, but still, after Thashi Boyz held on to that gold lead for quite a while, the tables had turned just a little bit. And okay, we're gonna be watching out for the rest of the game. We have VG Esports done and dusted. They're freshly respawned into the game. Cannon Break caught between Omega and Broken. And the wall pops up, traps Cannon Break, and it looks like the partial ultimate's up once again. And Hilda's gonna be going down. Let's see if VG Esports will try to go for that tower dive, and it looks like that tower dive's happening. Next door, however, is going to be going back into the base. It looks like IE gets caught up by Deathbeat L. Ramen is hiding in that bush. I don't know if VG Esports knows they're there. They could probably catch there. Okay, there we have it. Ramen's gonna be manages to get away, actually. That's the beauty of Hayabusa, you know. Now you see him, now you don't. Alright! Oh my gosh, next door just got caught by that wall from the Grok. But no follow-up after that. Ramen's once again hiding in the bushes. That guy should probably go ahead and farm, but it's not too safe to do that. And so VG Esports has sights on the mid lane turret, and Hindenburg is trying to go on the roam once again. Oh my gosh, Omega almost got caught up by that force damage, but it's a good thing they managed to get away. Okay, definitely might be in trouble back there, and that's what we're talking about, a glass cannon. Quite a squishy jungler that we're having here, and Broken's getting taken 4 versus 1, so we all knew how that was going to end, and Kami's just disengaging after that. But that turret is going to be up for the taken by the minions, and looks like IE's back there to kind of save that turret. Alright, Kami gets caught up, but Omega and Naglubagu is right behind them. This is a Lord dance waiting to happen. 3 versus 5 as of the moment. Farsa ultimate getting expended. And that's a 4 down on the side of VG Esports. They can easily get the Lord for themselves. And that's exactly what they're doing as of the moment. Second Lord goes to Thashi Boyz while VG Esports is on a downtime. So great improvement from Thashi Boyz, but the question is, what is the strategy, the beautiful strategy that we saw from VG Esports in the previous game? It worked out so well. But this time around, Thashi Boyz, they're given room to breathe. So it's just like, I kind of want to see the VG Esports that we saw winning so easily in the first game. Okay, Broken's kind of in the middle of Thashi Boyz, but they managed to get away right in time, and you don't want to get caught up and get picked off while the Lord is marching towards your top lane. But here we have the item. Orca has a considerable amount of items. That's 2, or rather 3 full items. We have the Blood Wings as well, and glowing wand. And on the other hand, VG Esports, yeah, not bad on the Rogers as well. We have the Sky Piercer, the Hask Claws, also the Wind Talker, and a little bit of sturdiness from the Physical Boots. And slowly but surely, Thashi Boyz is gonna be shaving down all those turrets from VG Esports. Potentially, this could look like a 1-1 on the scoreboard on this best of 5 after this. Thashi Boyz definitely has a lot of the map control, but look at the towers also of Thashi Boyz actually stealthily VG Esports also ha- like had a lot of turrets taken up against Mitashi Boy, so it's kind of a push and pull as of the moment. And so with that, kind of watching out for what's gonna happen here because it's actually still anyone's game as of now. So Mitashi Boy still has a chance actually. They still have a chance to make this a 1-1 on the best of 5. But still VG Esports right now, they bounced back from they kind of bounced back from the advantage of Butashi Boys, and now they're invading the red buff of Butashi Boys, but they're going to be backing away just quickly. But Hidden Breaks does get taken down. That's one down, and it's actually like five deaths already from the side of Hidden Breaks, and you can see is a nice amount of map control coming in from VG Esports. They push back the minions up top and also in the middle. They're just dealing with the bottom lane this time around. Alright, that means I'll find Legends astray from the rest of the pack. And next door almost got caught up. And could be 4 versus 1, but it looks like next door is gonna be jumping down really quickly. Don't want to get caught up in that. And right now VG Esports has a lot of map control as of the moment. Ramen! A little bit of a sneak there. Ramen's acting a lot like a roam as of the moment. I'm just hiding out on the bushes, knowing that they can get away anytime they want. Alright, there's 3 versus maybe 4 on the jungle of Butashi Boys, all the while the rest of VG Esports is taking that lore for themselves, and cleanly they did that. VG Esports, they had a lot of distractions up top, making sure Butashi Boys doesn't go get the Lord while doesn't try to contest the Lord. And so with that, Hidden Breaks dies once again, kind of looking like a pattern most of the moment. And it looks like that L has a little bit of a defensive item. We have an Immortality, which is definitely a great idea, especially since Death L is sort of a close range sort of a player. But here, it looks like we're gonna be marching straight onto the mid lane. We have the Lord on their side, and VG Esports should probably watch out for Ramen on the bottom lane. I'm a little bit nervous back here. We don't want to get back. We don't want to get back the word, but it looks like it doesn't matter either way. The Thashi Boys is in a little bit of trouble. Their base is out in the open. All they have to do is lock in onto that base, and that backdoor by Ramen is definitely not gonna be happening anytime soon. They almost had me. Ramen almost had me, but the push from the esports was just a little bit more faster. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is a 2-0 on the scoreboard on this best of 5. We have the match point coming in for VG Esports, but it's a great try. It's a great improvement for the side of Butashi Boys. You can actually see it was anyone's game at that moment in time. So, um, for a reverse sweep on the side of Butashi Boys if it's possible. As of the moment, it's 2-0, so VG Esports is still on the match point, but we still have one more game left to go for VG Esports to seal this best of 5 in. But there's also a potential for Butashi Boys to stretch this out to a game number 4 if they win this next game. Or there's also a chance that this could even stretch out to a game number 5 and turn into a reverse sweep. That's the way that Tashi Boys could potentially win the semifinals. MVP is broken 1-2 to 12 on the KDA, and we saw those walls. You don't even need crowd control. You don't even need setting. Those walls trapped the players from Botashi Boys and just did all the setting on themselves. But we have our roadmap once again. It's still all the same. Whoever wins this series is gonna go ahead and go for the SLFO up against SLFO during that grand finals. But it looks like we will be taking a break before our game number 3. So guys, that of course this is still a best of 5, so VG Esports has one game left to go to prove themselves, as I said. And so before that game 3 happens, yes, we did say we will be going on to a short break. So guys, do not go anywhere. We'll be seeing you soon in a few minutes.
మడుకురుమ్మి వర వ్యాక్ అమెద్దో 5G చేస్తాదా ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ದುಮ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಇತುರು ಹರಫತಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ MS ಅಳಿ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಉರಿದು
जाणू तो एक है राकेता एक हथियार उतर के हमला दी फुरडे लाफा दुआ क्या गादा ना तरुण बैकुरा फुम्मा द बैकुडा गादुरा मुझे यारू कम को दूडू वाला फुरा का कबारा तो तेवेनी हकुदा मत का फस्की चहेनी they will survive for the veni divide को टीम किंग को veni इंगा बदन का को गेमी का कतुरे का को बेडी का कपा ए हुर veni फहुमी है का को veni दी वाण मी मगे महल मगे राज मी मगे मतल
Welcome to Ooredoo Nation.
The Gamers Land.
ಕಿಯಾ ಬಲ ಕಿಯಾನೆ ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಗುಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಗುಳು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಕ್ಕಿಯಾಲ ಕರ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ನೋ ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಗುಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟೇ ಇದು ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್
ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಗುಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟೇ ಇದು ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್ ಎದು ಸ್ಮಿಯಂ ಐ ಲಿವೆ
ಫೋನುಗಾ ವಿಮುಳಿ ಹಯಾತಾ ನಟುಂಗುಳಿಲನಿ ತಕುಮ್ಮಿ ಸಕಿ ಮೇಜುಗಾ ಎಫಶಿ ಗೇಮುಗಾ ಕುಳುನು ಸ್ಪೀಡುಗಾ ಎ ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಗಂಡ ಸ್ನೆಪ್ ಕುರೆ ಎಸಕ ಮೀಮ್ ತಕ ಎ ಫುರಿ ಫೀಡುಗಾ ಎ ಟೆಕು ಟಕು ಫುರಾ ಎ ಫಿಟು ಚೆಕು ತಕ ಬೆ ಓಜಿ ಫಶಾ ಎ ಸಾಳಿ ಟ್ರೆಂಡಕ ಎ ಕಿ ಬಜಿದುವಾ
Santa Liberty Technology Libe kuri eroma Eko haru fatuga Tibe hus baguta Bagutung ufala Libe huwa fentan Fuga veche Libe fa
Jassali ma fighti libe Libe Jassali ma fighti libe
right, we are back. Oh, you got caught. Anyways, we are back once again to our origination Gamers Land Esports Flash series for Mobile Legends Bang Bang. And just a little bit of a recap, we are at our semifinals right now. All best of five. So that means although VG Esports already won 2 games, they have one more game left to go if they want to move forward to the grand finals. So as of this moment, it's 2-0 on this best of five. We have VG Esports on the match point as of this moment. One more game to win, and they move on to go up against LNN SLFO on the grand finals tomorrow. And it's going to be a best of seven. So guys, get as much sleep as possible. Do not be me, only 1 hour of sleep. So yeah, that's gonna be quite a night tomorrow, and it's gonna be really really exciting. You guys saw SLFO perform a while ago. It's absolutely beautiful. And here VG Esports and Butashi Boys, potentially the grand finalists. Whoever so wins this best of five is gonna be the next grand finalist after this. And it was a bit of a push and pull in game number two, but in game number one, I really loved VG Esports sort of holding on to that snowball as well as that momentum. And the game number one, it was just a bunch of ganks, um, just strength in numbers, divide and conquer. But in game number two, we're not seeing that from VG Esports anymore, and I really really wanted to see that. I think what VG Esports could have improved a little bit as well is on the damage, since they took the diggy for themselves and still wanted a grok as well. So either they probably like put a lot of damage, magical damage on diggy just to offset all that tankiness. And of course Nolan, like more or less almost a full damage build. And of course they're banking a lot on the marksman as well. So well, it's a new game, it's gonna be a new draft as well. So Butashi Boys, they're gonna be banning the Joy as usual, as well as the Amon, and no more Diggy anymore. It's not open anymore, and none of these two teams can take that Diggy for themselves. VG Esports very consistent with the Guinevere. They do not want that Guinevere whatsoever. They're also banning the Kagura, so one of the more mobile mages in the game. But yeah, nonetheless, there should be one more ban coming in from VG Esports, and so let's just wait up if they're ever going to like maybe ban something else. But then looks like it's gonna be Brody, and now we're going to go on our picking phase. So who is open? Lapu Lapu's open, but I don't think these two teams are fond of Lapu Lapu too much. Um, Wait, let's see. So, I mean, they could go ahead and give next door the Sora. Okay, next door will take the Xborg instead. And so, the person who took Xborg last time was actually Naglu Baglu from the side of VG Esports. So, it's gonna go to next door this time around. Broken will be going on the encore for their Grok, the second Grok in hand, and they could maybe they're probably gonna both teams are probably going to leave their junglers for the second phase of the picking, just so they don't get countered really quickly. But yes, Broken's Grok was a huge help a while ago. And I ate my own words just back there. Looks like Taspeed L took that Esunshin for themselves really really quickly while it was still open, while Butashi Boys is still hazarding it for themselves. And now, okay, Butashi Boys, it's time for their 2 picks. IE could go ahead and get their Farsa once again. I mean, it's pretty predictable at this rate. And looks like VG Esports isn't too worried about the Farsa. They're not banning it or anything like that. So IE can go ahead and get that really, really quickly. Or not. They could also prioritize the Marksman of Legends. Or maybe give Kid and Break their Roamer. Alright, we're going for the Legends Obsidia, and IE is gonna take the Eve this time around. And so VG Esports, they could have one more pick. So anything goes. any one of these three open lanes, it's fine. We have we already have a roam, we already have a jungle, so it's just gonna be XP, mage, and gold laner. So literal laners for VG Esports this summer around. In Butashi Boys, they already have the mid laner, the gold laner, and the XP laners. It's sort of like a opposites, you know. Butashi Boys need the jungler as well as the roam, and VG Esports is the other way around. So it's gonna change really, really quickly with that, and it's Faramis on the mid lane going up against Eve later on. So very, very interesting matchup. Faramis, especially the ultimates, definitely something to watch out for later on. But yes, we are going back to the banning phase. So VG Esports could target Ramen's hero pool. Maybe if they're worried about Kaden Break. Kaden Break's hero pool is quite wide, but they definitely VG Esports definitely does not want a Minotaur, so they're gonna be banning that. So they already have broken with the tank with the grok, so they can go ahead and ban all the tanks that they want. Thashi Boys, they should follow up with maybe an XP laner up against Naglubaglu or Omega's um carry. And so it looks like it's gonna be Airthel that will be banned. And next up, VG Esports will be banning something else. They could target maybe the tanks, something that could potentially counter maybe the Grox, the Isan Shin on the Faramis. Or they can go ahead and get the Florid just to make sure that we're not going to be dealing with any hyper healers. I don't know if they called hyper healers, but Florin is just like full on healing monster, and basically keeps their team immortal. But here Watashi Boys has their last they have their last ban. So I mean, anything could go. Naglubaglu, XP laner, Omega, marksman. Could ban the Granger. I'm not too familiar with the hero pool of Omega. I think they could go ahead and take any marksman that they want. Okay, they're just gonna ban the Ixia there, so it's gonna limit the hero pool just quite a bit. First pick on the second phase, either a marksman or an XP laner for VG Esports. As of this moment, Farmis, not bad of a choice, and definitely not a selfish mage. It's gonna help out the rest of the team, sort of a little bit of a support side. And Defeat L, nothing else to say about the Isan Shin. Great execution. Let's just see that translate into a victory later on for VG Esports. In fact, they just need one more. Mutashi Boys, I love the Obsidia pick. That's a lot of damage, and it's quite buffed since Obsidia is quite a new character as well. The Eve is not so bad in terms of damage as well, and next door, you don't want that X-Borg to kind of stack damage on you because you let yourself burn, and you'll find that your health just goes down like melted butter. But here, VG Esports Naglubaglu will be taking the Arlet for themselves, so it's not a bad choice since Arlott every now and then it gets banned as well. So I love the pick for Kaden Brick. This is Gacha. And so Gatot Kachuk is pretty versatile. It's a tag that could actually solo you because could also double as an XP laner, but the ultimate of Gattatkasha screams setter tank, so it's like such a great versatile hero. I love Gatta. I'm a huge fan of Gattatkasha. And Ramen, it looks like they'll be finishing off this lineup with a Fredrin. So that's going to be the jungler. And Omega will be taking the CC. So this is going to be a CC carry. CC will be going on to that gold lane later on. So we don't have a typical marksman for VG Esports. So let's expect that VG Esports is going to try to end this game as quickly as possible. Because Butashi Boyz has Legends on Obsidia. You do not want to give Obsidia the gold, the items that they need, and after the items are already taken maybe 10-15 minutes into the game, depending on how much of a snowball this game is gonna go, Obsidio will be way too hard to beat already. So VG Esports, they're going to have to bank on ending this game as soon as possible. So let's see if they can execute that really really quickly. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is game number 3 of our second series for this semifinals. Thashi Boyz versus VG Esports on this best of 5 on the semifinals. Kami already dangerously low on health, just poking and trying to tempt fates. And it's a good thing they managed to get away just in time before they got picked up. Alright. Rock is kind of poking broken back there, but I think he's backing away really, really quickly. And going for that little wanderer real quick. And Death L still on the blue buff. Getting assisted by Broken. Okay, we have a potential invade towards the blue buff of VG Esports. And they're gonna be backing away because Thashi Boyz, VG Esports, they already had Fire Mist and Grok nearby, so they don't have to worry too much about that. Okay, now we're gonna be focusing on the gold lane. So we have a taunt a bit. Unbroken is gonna be in trouble. Manages to dash away, but there's going to be backup by VG Esports. They baited them. They baited Thashi Boyz back there, and Broken almost got broken, and Thashi Boyz just got so tempted to overstep, to overextend, and that just gave away one free kill. And it's not gonna be 2 kills. IE almost lost their lives back there. And we have less than like a few seconds left to go before that turtle comes up. Nice save on the Omega, but look at that tower dive. Okay, Omega falls, but Guided Break trades away their lives for that. So that is a carry versus a roamer, so it's not too much of a huge loss, but still, what a sacrifice. Okay, we have a little bit of a rotate towards the turtle as of this moment, and so it looks like Thashi Boyz will actually get started on that turtle, but we're looking at a potential contest that did not happen whatsoever. The turtle went to Thashi Boyz nonetheless, so I'm gonna be watching out for that. Mid lane, just poking here and there. We got a minute and a half left to go before the next turtle. It's a little bit quiet, and I'm kind of surprised, you know. VG Esports, they were so aggressive in the first game, and I'm kind of hoping, you know, to see maybe something else happening in the next game after that. But here, Thashi Boyz a little bit more aggressive, I suppose. But Cadence quite low on health. Alright, we have the wall trapping Kaden, and that's a one more down on the side of Thashi Boyz. And we have the emblems, by the way. It's a pretty balanced out emblem for both sides. I'm not too worried about the emblems. So it's a huge mix of physical and magical damage, as well as tankiness. But over here on the gold lane, that was a 4 versus 1. Kami almost lost their lives back there. But the important thing is the Obsidia got taken down. Legends got taken down back there, and that just sets off their farm just a little bit. And you can see VG Esports banging down on the gold plating on that lower turret. Okay, but Thashi Boyz are kind of like bouncing back, trying to see if we can get like a 4 versus 5 sort of revenge team fight, and now they're ready. But as of this moment, Omega kind of lost a little bit of their lives back there. All right, we got a poke here and there. What? Omega took so much damage back there, but the Fire Mist ultimate saved them all, and this is what I'm talking about. Okay, Omega's losing a lot of health, managed to get away. That's a nice Grok set, if I see so myself. And Legends the first to fall, Kaiden and IE follow after that, and that is a 4-man wipeout on Thashi Boyz. What is next door doing? What are you doing, dude? Don't even bother going there anymore. You're gonna get picked off also, knowing that there's no more backup. But yeah, that's just a little bit of information gotten, and that turtle will easily probably go to VG Esports as well. But Thashi Boyz, they're going to be respawning already. Let's see if they can try to get the contest. There's no buffs whatsoever on their jungler. And then so there's still a potential sort of a contest, but still Death L got that turtle nonetheless. Okay, Kaiden might be the first casualty, but there's someone. It's gonna be Nanglubanglu. This gonna be falling next. It's a trade-off. Next door is gonna be next. 3 down on the side of Thashi Boyz. And that's a 1 trade to Nanglubanglu as well. So still 3 to 11 on the scoreboard. In terms of kills, not so bad, especially that's 5 minutes into the game. It's not all hope lost for Thashi Boyz just yet. I saw Sky Piercer back there, so they're gonna be starting on that stack, especially on VG Esports. If that thing went to Omega or Death L, then we're a little bit in trouble. Okay, we have a little bit of a skirmish in the mid lane, but VG Esports is not gonna be overextending too much. Okay, Omega kind of like getting that damage down here and there. This is what I'm talking about. VG Esports needs to be aggressive this time around. You don't want to give Legends the items that they need. And look, right now they're putting a lot of pressure towards the mid lane turret. Okay, that wall was so important in order to sort of take that mid lane turret, and that beautiful placement of the Faramis ultimate as well. Alright, we have 2 more casualties on the side of Thashi Boyz. And that's a double kill by Nanglubanglu. That's a 3rd casualty. And so this is it. VG Esports executing this plan really well, trying their best to sort of get this early game, and so they took down 3 turrets already from the Thashi Boyz. That's 3 outer turrets, and VG Esports, they still have a pristine turret lineup on all sides. But now we have 10 seconds left to go. Oh my gosh, Death L cannot die right now. Cannot die right now, especially with a 5-second turtle already. Okay, they're gonna be going on to that reset while the rest of the 4 players from VG Esports goes ahead and dives into that turret, taking IE. And Kaiden is right behind them, trying their best to defend Legends. And it looks like VG Esports, they overextended just a little bit, but Legends managed to get away. So 0-3 to 1 on KDA for Legends is not a good start, especially for Thashi Boyz. But VG Esports, they did their job and pushed away the rest of Thashi Boyz so they can cleanly get that 3rd turtle for themselves. So there we have it. We have the Lord in 2 minutes. And mid lane is being pushed right now by VG Esports, and so there's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of map control coming in for VG Esports, and Kaiden breaks, falls once again. Ramen jumps in, backs away immediately. Kami overextends just a bit, but the Faramis ultimate saves them just on the nick of time. Alright, red buff being taken by VG Esports, being denied from Thashi Boyz. And now the minions are going to be flowing in from the mid lane. All the while, Fredrin, Ramen trying to clear up the top lane. And right now, VG Esports backs away from the Gacha ultimate. Just right in time. 5 versus 4. Ramen is going to be coming in. No buffs, so it's going to be a little bit hard, especially since you're going up against VG Esports 5 versus 5. The buff being denied. And Thashi Boyz being pushed back into their base really quickly. And now VG Esports has their sight on that mid lane turret, and also Thashi Boyz is trying to hold back as well, hold back the whole wave that's happening over here. Kenny breaks, okay, right in the middle of everything, but that's tankiness if you see anything happen just like that. Here we have a nice 3-man set. That's a 3-man set once again from the Grok, but that's dangerously low health on VG Esports. They didn't back away in time. Kami's still alive. Legends almost dead. Death L trying to just finish that off, but it's not gonna be enough. They lost on Nanglubanglu and Omega back there. Overextended just a little bit past the turret. But I think they were just getting a little bit impatient. VG Esports were getting a little bit impatient because Thashi Boyz was doing so well. They were doing so well defending that base, but now VG Esports doesn't have to worry about that too much, especially since they were just buying time, making use of the time to wait for that lord to spawn. And it looks like Death L is going to be starting on that already. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of damage done to Nanglubanglu. Not a lot of sustain this time around, but Kaiden breaks gonna be going down Just like that. Farmer's ultimate, just saving them just a little bit. Broken is right in the bag. Ramen, half health. That wall coming right up, just stopping just a little bit. VG Esports' forward push. But here, Ramen going up against Broken. That's a 3 versus 1. Look at the sustain coming in. Rather than the sustain, the tankiness of Broken. But here, it looks like Legends has their has claws. So, great thing to do right now. Perhaps start on those Dominion Eyes, that glowing one for Kami as well. Also the anti-heal item for the marksman and physical damage dealers. They definitely use that right around now, especially since Legends has that task plus they do not want to give their health to them. But here we have the Gato ultimate, sort of almost setting VG Esports, but the Fireman's ultimate saves them just for a little bit of time. Okay, Kaden Bricks is almost down. That Tweet L, nice placement on the damage, but that is a 3-man wipeout on VG Esports, and all the while it's just Kaden Bricks that got traded off back there. So not a very good trade-off over here. But here Broken does have the Dominion Eyes, so it will help going up against Legends especially. So Legends, slowly but surely, they're getting the items that they need. So VG Esports, they have to end this immediately. They cannot afford to drag this on to the 15-minute mark. At the 15-minute mark, I cannot guarantee that VG Esports will win this game anymore, especially since they don't have like the classic marksman carry. But here in the blue buff, I think this is going to be a 4 versus 5 until death Fleet L arrives. Alright, there VG Esports is pushing back Thashi Boyz. It looks like next door is going to be first going down the top lane. There's a little bit of trouble. They should go ahead and get that Farmer's ultimate as quickly as possible, but I think it's already been expended. There's 3 down on the side of Thashi Boyz, so I mean, Thashi Boyz is a little bit of trouble, just a little bit. And you can see Kaiden Bricks has 10 deaths already. What is happening over here? Kaiden Bricks needs to not too much be of a hero anymore, because you're giving away a lot of gold towards VG Esports. But here, it looks like VG Esports still has their sights on the mid lane turn. Is finally going down after all this time. And now you can see VG Esports, they're gonna be backing away. They're like, okay, we're done here. You can see the split push coming in. They're trying to push those minions back. And now we have half a minute left to go before that Lord's gonna be popping right off. And well, as of this moment, VG Esports, now that they have the mid lane turret for themselves, it's gonna be a little bit hard to take down Omega and Broken. 3 versus 2, and they can see that they lack so much in damage, and now Grok is just gonna be setting the stage. Got the Gacha ultimate. I don't think it came up really quickly, but Ramen does get Cammy in the bag, and Kaiden gets traded off immediately. Okay, Omega might be in trouble, but that sustain almost had him. But in the end, still, that is a 2-for-1 trade, I believe. And so, not a really good trade, but here, or rather, it's a 1-for-1 trade, rather. But still, VG Esports still has the time, all the time in the world, to take this Lord immediately, while Thashi Boyz has to worry about defending their base. Alright, I'm a little bit worried for the minions on the mid lane, because that's going to be picking up chip damage on that mid outer lane turret for VG Esports, and you do not want to give away any more map control to Thashi Boyz, especially since they're already starting off with such a nice slate, especially when VG Esports is setting the stage on this potential early game win. Right now, it's definitely not happening. Right now, we're in the 14-minute mark, and steadily but surely, Legend is probably having a lot of items coming right up. And so, VG Esports, they should probably get going really fast, really quickly. They don't want to drag this on a little bit too much, but right now, VG Esports has the total map control. They're pushing all the minions towards the bottom lane. Alright, we have the Grok Ball right up. One good set is gonna be changing everything. Alright, Naglu Banglu right up top gets taken out. Alright, it's 4 versus 4. The Lord is still up. And Ramen's trying to sort of dive in, but it's just not working out. We can see that the base is like 3/4 of the health already. They're trying to take down Ramen over here. Legend's a little bit hard to kind of like catch because that's a really nice placement on their hero. But Legends finally gets caught up, and IE is still right behind them, and it still doesn't matter because finally, just shy of the 15-minute mark, VG Esports solidifies their victory on the semifinals, and they will be moving forward towards the grand finals, going up against LNN's SLFO on this grand finals on this best of 7 later on. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, congratulations to these two wonderful teams. VG Esports, beautiful sweep on this best of 5 semifinals, and well, I think a 15 minutes a game is definitely something, you know, that's I said a while ago. If they get past 15 minutes, I'm not so guaranteed that VG Esports would have won. Just looking at the Obsidia build already, they have the Wind Talker, they had the Has Claws. It's a good thing that they still at 2, or rather maybe 3 items on their build, because any more than that, then VG Esports will probably be in a little bit of trouble. And so the MVP is broken once again. That's 2-0 to 23 on the KDA, and GPM of 686, KP percent of 96%, and item build, of course, we have full on tank build with the Dominion Ice, just helping out on that anti-heal really quickly. So once again, congratulations to our two teams, and of course, LNN SLFO and VGs be facing off on each other in the grand finals tomorrow on the best of 7, and after that, it's going to be the bronze match, the best of 3 between MVL Esports and Butashi Boyz. So that was it for our two brackets. For our semifinals for tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in as usual, and it was such a riveting fight to watch for two teams. So all sweeps, and so it's gonna be an interesting matchup for a grand finals tomorrow. Let's just see how it's going to play out. But guys, for tonight, we will be wrapping up the semifinals, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow around the same time as well for our best of 7 grand finals and best of 3 bronze match. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in once again, and we'll be seeing you tonight, tomorrow rather. So goodbye for now.
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೋಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್.
Bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मैं क्या हो रखा?
Edu-s miang ai live
Fonuga vibuli hayata netungulila nita kummisaki mezuga fresh gameuga kudulu speeduga PUBG ganda
Snap kure aisa ka meme taka furi feeduga teku toku fura f2 cheku taka ve OG fasha esali trend ka eki bajiduwa
Puro santa liberne technology libe kori eroma eko haru fatuga tibe husbaguta magutung ufala libe huwa fenta kuga veche libe fa
Salima fighting live Just Salima fighting